Chapter 33, Teams. Chapter 33, Teams. For a short moment, there was silence in the room. Besides Chun Yao, Ji Qingwu, Lu Wen, Wang Shuang, Qi Yang, Zhang Xian, Wang Feng, and Kai Xiao, the rest of the people raised their hands. Few people were willing to stay there. Seeing so many people raise their hands in response to the proposal, Li Manny, with a look of satisfaction, said to you, more than half agreed to leave at once. Proposal approved. Good. You nodded. Seeing you nodded, those people who raised their hands were relieved, but your next sentence caused their hearts to fall from heaven to hell. You look at the eyes of the others, then lightly said, you people can leave now. I'm not stopping you. You can bring 5 days of supplies with you. You had saved these people because he had promised to save them, but to them it was not enough. In peacetime, when you save people, they will turn around and blame you, not to mention in this post-apocalyptic world. He also did not want to take a bunch of people that harbored dissent towards him and struggled with them in this post-apocalyptic world. Listening to Yu's words, the others turned very pale. The outside world is full of zombies. They're just ordinary people that have not been strengthened, so even taking a step forward is difficult, while procuring supplies was even harder. Zhao Zhan stepped forward to Li Manny's rescue. You, enough joking. Li Manny didn't mean any harm. She just wants you to listen to everyone's opinion. I'm not joking. I take this opportunity to tell you clearly. You looked at everyone, with a serious expression said, whoever wants to leave, I will not stop you. You can take 5 days of supplies, then leave and fend for yourself. If you want to stay, the guys must obey my commands to join and fight zombies, while the girls must do the logistical work, such as transporting supplies, cooking, cleaning, and so on. The girls would need to fight when necessary. This team does not need people that do not contribute. You then lightly said, I have cleared the zombies in this building. If you choose to leave, you can choose a room to stay in. But I will say this clearly, I have done what I can for you. If in the future you do not have supplies, do not ask me, as I will not give any to you. A pretty and petite girl named Jiang Xian frowned and said to you, is it not a man's duty to protect women? You are too petty and do not act like a man. Haven't you heard of the phrase, with great power comes great responsibility? Jiang Xian is an only child, is pretty and pampered from childhood. She had more courage at this time, as she was in a safe place. You looked at Jiang Xian, lightly said, let me ask you, many refugees in Africa have nothing to eat. Is that not sad? Jiang Xian blankly said, it is sad. You looking at Jiang Xian continues to ask, they're so poor, why don't you sell your family's assets and donate to them? In the past, if you just sell all your family's possessions and donated it, you can save the lives of hundreds or even thousands of African refugees. You have the ability to save them, but refuse to help? Then what is that call? You spent hundreds of dollars on a bottle of cosmetics, which can buy how many kilograms of rice and save how many African refugees, so why do you not save them? Let's just talk about the countryside and not someplace far away. There's still many people that cannot read because of a lack of money for school. Since you are so noble, why don't you donate half of your living expenses to help them? Perhaps your dinner can help pay for a student to learn to read. Jiang Xian was not mentally prepared, so she was speechless when asked a series of questions by you. You lightly said, after all, you are but a hypocrite. If you cannot do it, what right do you have to force someone else to do it? I admit that I cannot do that. I'm just an ordinary guy, and I'm not great enough to sell all that I have to save some stranger. Before this, you and I were just strangers. After saving you, what right do you have to demand that I protect you? You can find someone that will dedicate themselves to protect you guys. I'm sorry, that is not me. Jiang Xian was silent. Yu's attitude was very clear and without room to maneuver. While she could not refute Yu's reasoning, Zhao Zhan thought for a moment, then looked at you and asked, could you please give us some firearms and ammunition? As long as you give us some firearms and ammunition, we can fend for ourselves. Lu Wen gave Zhao Zhan a contemptuous look. You really are thick-skinned. We had to risk our lives to get those firearms and ammunition. Why should we give them to you? Zhao Zhan did not say anything else, and just stared at her. You outright refused. No way. I cannot give you firearms and ammunition. Without firearms and ammunition, how could we survive out there? You are just going to let us die? Yun Yi, the guy wearing glasses beside Zhao Zhan, said. You in a deep voice said, killing zombies can give you experience. I've already told you. As long as you have the courage to fight the zombies, you will gain experience and get stronger. That is all I will say. I ask that you make your choice immediately. Stay or leave. Yun Yi, Li Mani, and 2 other students looked at Zhao Zhan. Rather than believing in you, who saved their lives, they were more willing to believe Zhao Zhan as they were friends. Zhao Zhan, with a determined face, quickly stood up, looked around, and very passionately said, Thank you for saving me. However, I cannot agree with your idea. Men should protect women by nature. Everyone, I will leave as soon as possible and go to Longhai City. If any of you want to come with me, then I promise you, I will risk my life to protect you. I will not give up on anyone and bring all of you safely to Longhai City. A lot of the girls had a strange light in their eyes. To them, Zhao Zhan was a true man with his inspirational words, handsomeness, and being the student council president. The 12 girls of the girls' dormitory soon split into 2 halves. 6 girls chose to stay with you, while 6 girls wanted to leave with Zhao Zhan. Those girls were reluctant to stay there another day. You compared to Zhao Zhan did not speak as well and was not a gentleman. It has not been long since the end of the world. The girls' naivety has not been changed by the cruel world yet. After collecting the supplies for 5 days, Zhao Zhan took his team and left. Why did you not leave? You looked at Zhang Xin with curiosity and asked. Zhang Xin was one of the girls that questioned him. He thought she would follow Zhao Zhan and leave too. Zhang Xin looked at you and said, if Zhao Zhan had the courage to fight the zombies, at this time he would not be here. They have no weapons and have no power. Following them is like looking for death. Only those naive girls would be persuaded by his sweet words and trust his promises. Chapter 34, Power Leveling. Chapter 34, Power Leveling, Assist in Leveling. You quickly said, okay, now Chen Yao, Lu Wen, Wang Shuang, Zhang Xian, Wang Fong, and Kai Xiao. You all come with me. The rest stay here and listen to Qi Yang's order. Yuaning worried asked, where are you going? Yes, where are we going? Wang Fong also nervously asked. She did not want to leave the safety of the house. You replied, to help you get stronger. It is already afternoon. You didn't want to waste any time. He guessed that the zombies are somehow evolving and getting stronger, so he didn't want to waste too much time. Hearing Yu's words, that he would help everyone gain experience to advance to the next level, all their eyes lit up. At this time, almost all of them want to advance to the next level, to become strong like you, Ji Qing Wu, and Qi Yang, so that they can survive and live easier in this world. Yuaning, extremely excited, said, I want to go. Other girls also loudly said, I want to go too. You, take me to go get stronger. Quiet. You shouted and frowned. The girls immediately fell silent. Yu Zhong surveyed all the women in a deep voice said, there is no problem if you want to come. However, I alone cannot protect so many people, so when something unforeseen happens, I will not be responsible. The rest of the girls were silent. They were well aware of the dangers when fighting zombies. Without Yu's protection, they would die, let alone advancing to the next level. With the plan set, you brought the others downstairs and to the school bus. Where do we go? Chen Yao asked you. You thought for a moment and said, Nebula Avenue. The number of zombies there should be low. Nebula Avenue is a commercial street, but it did not prosper. So the surrounding buildings are old, run down, and deserted. The school bus arrived at the area. They saw only a little more than 10 zombies lurking in the street. The streets were littered with wreckage of vehicles that crashed into the guardrail. When the school bus stopped, you and White Bones jumped out the bus. Lu Wen had faith in you. Your words had hardly faded when she also got down. Wang Fong, with jealousy in her eyes, looked at Lu Wen and thought, Yu is really good to this little girl. What is their relationship? In this post-apocalyptic world, there were dangers everywhere. Without the protection of someone strong, it would be difficult to survive for someone weak like her. Wang Feng, seeing that you was focused on Lu Wen, became jealous. Being attracted by the sound of the school bus's engine, the zombies on the street staggered over. Yu Zhong ordered White Bones, "Go and cut off their limbs for me." Having received Yu's order, White Bones rushed forward with his axe, like a cyclone cutting the zombies. After getting the skill Reinforced Bones, White Bones had become very powerful. Normal zombies was no longer able to pull out the bones of White Bones. It was now more than twice as strong as an ordinary man. So, slaying ordinary zombies had become really easily. Before long, more than 10 zombies had their limbs cut off and fell to the ground. You handed the first-degree protective garment to Lu Wen and said, "Go, cut off those zombies' head. You will be able to gain experience. This is a protective garment, so put it on." Lu Wen took the piece of protective garment and, sensing its properties, in her heart, felt braver and said, "Great. I have to change my clothes. Can you turn around?" Lu Wen looked at you with baby eyes. She felt very embarrassed if you saw her change her clothes. You, staring at Lu Wen, seriously asked, "You know it is very dangerous. If I don't see you, and while you're changing your clothes, something bad may happen. We don't know what kind of abilities the evolved zombies will have. Are you sure you want to let me look away? Can't you just put this protective garment over your clothes?" Lu Wen glanced at you and shook her head. "Big brother, you really do not understand a girl's mind. It's no surprise that you don't have a girlfriend. Come on, telling you these things is a waste of effort." Hesitating a bit, Lu Wen listened to you and wore the protective clothing over her clothes. Lu Wen, holding the imitation Tang sword, walked over to the zombies that had its limbs cut off. The zombie with its limbs cut off by White Bones was still alive. The zombie, sensing that Lu Wen was nearby, started to constantly struggle, opening and closing its mouth. Seeing the struggling zombie, Lu Wen was startled and quickly took a few steps back with a pale face. The zombie's appearance was too scary. Once hurt by the zombie, you would turn into a zombie, which is why all the people feared them. Few people can muster up the courage and fight the zombies in melee. If he had not reached a dead end, it would be difficult for him to muster up the courage and fight the zombies in melee. After a while, Lu Wen realized that the protective garment can resist the zombie's infection, which caused her fears to settle down. Watching the limbless zombie lying on the ground, she stepped forward and slashed at its head. Lu Wen's sword slash fell on the shoulder of the zombie, the sharp sword embedded in the bones of the zombie. That zombie immediately struggled, scaring her so bad that she was trembling and wanted to throw the sword away and escape. Seeing the zombie unable to chase her, the fear subsided in her heart. She was a girl that never even killed a chicken before. Asking her to kill a zombie was too difficult. Lu Wen watched the zombies on the ground, took a deep breath for a moment, then continuously slashing at the zombie's head. Slashing 6 times in a row, she eventually cut off the zombie's head. A ball of white light from the zombie body flew out into her body. "Big brother, I killed a zombie." After killing the zombies, Lu Wen proudly said to you while looking a bit pale, "That is great. Wen, well done." You rubbed Lu Wen's head and praised her. Lu Wen smiled sweetly at you's praise. The fear in her heart has lessened. "Why didn't I get promoted?" After calming down, Lu Wen curiously asked you. You said, "Continue to kill zombies. You have to kill more zombies in order to raise your level." "Okay, I will go kill more." Lu Wen nodded, holding the imitation Tang sword, walked towards those limbless zombies on the ground. Killing the first zombie had lessened her fears of zombies, while increasing her courage to fight. It's always difficult at the beginning, but then it would get easier. Lu Wen with the sword continues to kill the zombies. After killing the 12th zombies, her face had a look of surprise, loudly cried towards you, "Big brother, I was promoted, I got the stats points." You has been observing Lu Wen as she beheaded the zombies. After hearing the surprise sound from Lu Wen, he quietly thought, with the help of others, it takes 4 times as many monsters to level up. Chapter 35. A Sense of Crisis. Chapter 35. A Sense of Crisis. Finished speaking, came over to you and asked, "Big brother you, what stats should I increase?" You quickly said, "Spirit. You should increase spirit. You're mainly responsible for the rear support, while I will be responsible for the front." Luwen is not suitable for combat. You decided to have her train as a priest class or a healer. The only girl that you saw that dared to fight the zombies was Jiang. A healer is crucial in this post-apocalyptic world. Doctors are scarce, medicines are scarce. At this time, a healer will make the team's survival much better. Okay. Luwen quickly chose to assign to spirit. She also didn't want to fight those nasty zombies. That's the riskiest thing. You said, "You're tired. Go rest. Give the sword to Wang Shuang and tell him to come out." Got it. Luwen quickly ran to the school bus. Did you level up? As Luwen got on the bus, Wang Fang came up and hastily asked. Luwen said proudly, "Yep." Zhang Xian, Kai Xiao, Wang Shuang, and Wang Fang had a hint of envy in their eyes. They also want to level up and grow stronger. Without leveling up, they felt inferior. Qinyao, fortunately, was able to learn the skill Small Fireball, which equivalent to an ability. It can also be considered having level up. Wang Shuang, you said to go out. Luwen handed the imitation Tang sword to Wang Shuang and said. Wang Shuang face lit up, accepted the sword, and then got off the bus. He also wanted to level up and grow as strong as you. Wang Fang, looking at Lu when wearing the protective garment, revealed a hint of desire burning in her eyes. Luwen, we should have a talk. Can you lend me that protective garment for a moment? Wang Fang is very smart. She saw that you has been wearing the protective garment, followed by Jiang, and now Luwen is wearing it. Obviously, this protective garment is a great piece of equipment. Luwen hesitated for a moment, took off the protective garment, and gave it to Wang Fang. This is amazing. It can fend off zombies' attacks twice. This is the equivalent of 2 lives. This Luwen really is important to you. Who is she to you? Wang Fang, wearing the protective garment, immediately felt different. Her body was light by bit. Her thoughts was full of jealousy. Let me and Zhang Xian try it. Kai Xiao stared and said to Wang Fang. Wang Fang see Kai Xiao and Zhang Xian and remembered the escape scene. With a guilty conscience, took off the protective clothing and handed it to Kai Xiao. This is amazing. Seems like you really value this, Luwen. Kai Xiao and Zhang Xian wore the protective garment and thought. Killing those limbless zombies is not a difficult thing. The psychological pressure compared to killing a normal zombie was completely different. With the help of you, Wang Shuang killing 12 zombies soon also level up. Wang Shuang, after leveling up, immediately asked you, what stats should I choose? You said agility. You should put all your stats point into agility. When your agility is more than 13 points, put it into power and strength. When fighting zombies, reaction time is most critical. As long as you're not hit, they are no match for us. Wang Shuang is also one of the fighting force that you is developing. Yu's team fighting force is currently only you, Jiang, and Qingwu. This fight force is just too weak. Okay. Wang Shuang did not hesitate to immediately assign the stats points. Wang Shuang's stamina was much more than Luwen. You helped Wang Shuang to kill the zombies until Wang Shuang was promoted to level 3 before they stopped hunting. Beheading zombies was hard labor. Especially Wang Shuang, with the help of you, had to kill a lot more in order to advance to level 3. Afterwards, Wang Shuang was too tired and headed back to the school bus. Zhang Xian, Kai Xiao, and Wang Fang with Yu's help advanced to level 2. You also urged them to assign the points to agility and stamina. Qinyao also advanced to level 2. Following Yu's advice, she assigns her points to spirit. Qinyao was also a focus of you to train. After everyone had level up, it was getting dark. You did not dare to fight the zombies in the dark and quickly return home. You are back. Come and eat. Back home, Yuan Ning and Zhang Luke greeted with a smile on their face while looking at you and said. A girl immediately went into the kitchen and brought out a tray of dishes. Dinner is stir-fried vegetables, white rice, beef cooked with potatoes, stir-fried ham, with tomatoes and eggs. The group of people sat around the table and began to eat. The girls' appetite was small, and the meal was not lavish. But each of the girls ate 3 bowls of rice before putting down their chopsticks, especially for Zhang Li and Ning, who was trapped in the dorm room for a couple days. It has only been a couple days since the world ended, but for them, it was so long. After the meal, Zhang Li immediately started clearing the dishes. Ning and Lin Qi hesitated for a moment, but also started helping. The rest of the girls then woke up, rushing to gather up the dishes. Qingwu looked at the girls and lightly said, "Take turns to do it. First is Zhang Li, Ning, and Lin Qi, then substitute." Hearing Qingwu say that, the other girls immediately stopped and circled around Lu Wan and Wang Fong, then started asking them about the leveling up process. Sitting on the couch, Jiang, holding a bottle of sport drinks, asked you, "Are you going to go out in the dark?" You know that Jiang understand you very well. Know that in moment of crisis, you would never waste a minute of time. Yu Zhong, with his fingers overlapping, hesitated for a moment before slowly said, "It is too dangerous out there at night. I do not know what have happened to the world. In the darkness, if you are suddenly attacked, something bad may happen." Yu Zhong's stamina through constant leveling have already more than double an ordinary person. Compared with the first day, he was not as tired. In the dark streets, it was extremely dangerous. If he encountered some S1 zombie that attacked, he might be injured. Jiang said, "We taking the initiative is indeed dangerous, but let them take the initiative to come to die. Would that not minimize the risk?" Chapter 36. Night Hunting. Chapter 36. Night Hunting. You understood right away. His face immediately brightened. "Jiang, what you said is great. With a protective garment, we will immediately set out." You didn't want to waste time. As long as he has the stamina, he wants to continue fighting and level up. The initial period of this new world is most valuable. Waiting until all those zombies are stronger, killing them would be more risky and difficult. Jiang silently nodded and put on the protective garment. "Where are you going?" Seeing you and Jiang standing up, Qinyao couldn't help but ask. All the other girls watched you and Jiang. Their eyes flashed a touch of worry. The 2 men were the core of the team. They did not know how they would survive if they lost those 2. You, with a serious face, instruct Qinyao. "We're going out to hunt and kill zombies. You stay here, shut the door, and do not go out. Also, do not let anyone accept us in." Qinyao, frowning, persuaded loudly. "Isn't it very dangerous to go out so late? What if you encounter some S1 zombies?" Qinyao was greatly impressed by the S1 zombies' agility. If they didn't have you and Qingwu, an S1 zombie could kill everyone in the room. Zhang Xian also opened her mouth to persuade. "Yeah, you go tomorrow." You refused and said, "Thank you for your worry, but I must go." Yu's mind was made up. Those that opposed did not have any effect. Soon, Yu and Jiang left the safety of the room, heading outside. At this time, darkness had enveloped the sky, although electricity was still uninterrupted, but none of the apartments were lit, as if the whole city was already dead. The only good news was the moon in the sky, moonlight shining down everywhere, so that this dark world had a hint of light. You looked up at the moon in the sky and thought of the past. "Jiang, we haven't fought together like this for how long?" Jiang simply said, 2 years. After squandering 2 years after high school, because something happened, Yu was greatly impacted. As if a changed man, began to prepare for the university entrance exam. A hint of loneliness flashed in Yu's eyes, with a sigh. 2 years already. 2 years ago, also on a moonlit night, the girl that you loved left with another boy, just because the boy had a great inheritance. He had to work hard for a month to earn money for a decent gift for her birthday party. Jiang frowned. "You forget her. That girl is not good enough for you. She's not good girl." Yu was silent for a moment, till Jiang laughed and said, "I've forgotten about her. The most urgent task now is to survive. I can distinguish what is important." Jiang looked at you for a bit, but did not say anything. Leaving the area, Jiang and Yu quiet down, no longer talking. You went to the sales office outside the community, pointed towards the sales office, and ordered White Bones. Destroy it. White Bones, receiving Yu's order, immediately swung his axe. The axe hitting the glass door, smashing it to pieces. The sound of breaking glass in the silent darkness was extremely foreboding. The zombies near the sales office began staggering over. In this neighborhood, there were many zombies was attracted by the school bus engine sound. After hearing the sound of breaking glass, those zombies staggered over. More than 100 zombies soon staggered over towards Jiang and Yu. Big trouble. You looked at the crowded group, numbering more than 100 zombies. Zombies forming a dense formation are the most difficult to deal with. Scattered zombies can be dealt with by kiting over and over again. While with crowded group of zombies, the smallest mistakes can get you caught. Up the steps, you said to Jiang. They quickly retreated up the stairs of the building. Those zombies squeezing against each other, staggered over. Walking up the stairs was not easy for zombies. Many of the zombies stumbled and fell to the ground. The rest of the zombies, stepping on those fallen zombies, continues forward. A flight of stairs caused more than a dozen zombies to fall, taking a while trying to get up. The narrow pathway only allowed 4 people walking side by side. Those zombies, after entering the pathway, huddling together and trip over the obstacles in their way. Kill them. Seeing far fewer numbers of zombies in the pathway, you looked at White Bones and ordered. Receiving the order from you, White Bones lunges forward. Swing his axe, as if like a cyclone, decimated the crowded zombies. White Bones easily killed the zombies, while Yu and Jiang were each on the side of White Bones, killing any zombies that slipped by. As an undead, White Bones can ignore the zombie virus, while Yu and Jiang couldn't. Even though they were wearing the protective garment, they still had to be careful. Yu and Jiang both fought while retreating. Under the coordination with White Bones, it still took over an hour of fighting. Yu was promoted to level 11, while Jiang was promoted to level 7. Yu assigned his points to agility and stamina. The drops from the 100 zombies was horrible, only contributing more than 200 survival coins and 3 apple of vitality. Killing the last zombie, you let out long breath. Let's go back. The hard-fought battle against the zombies consumed a lot of stamina. You only had 7 points of stamina left. Jiang, sweating, just nodded. His stamina was almost exhausted and can no longer continue fighting. When they arrived back at home, Zhongli came up and said to them, "You're back. The bath water has been heated." The other girls were looking at you and Jiang with envy. They were still unclear about what happened to the world, so no one dared to drink the tap water. A shower was a simple thing in the past, has now become a luxury, because it was only safe to take a bath with bottled water that was boiled. In this team, the only one fighting was you, Ji Qingwu, and Jiang. Only those 3 are eligible to take a bath. After all, they were the main fighting force. Chapter 37, School Bus Stolen. Chapter 37, School Bus Stolen. Really relaxing. With his body submerged in hot water, you uttered a sigh of happiness. Being able to take a bath after strenuous fighting was a rare treat. Not to mention the scarcity of water now. Jiang was squatting in front of a bucket of hot water, revealing a rare smile, said, "Remember when we were in middle school?" You and Jiang remember when they were in a boarding school in middle school. During the summer, a bunch of boys bathing around a basin. In the winter, everyone took a bucket of hot water to bathe. You was silent for a moment, slowly said, "I wonder how Panther is now." Panther was one of Yu's buddies. After the university entrance exam, everyone went their separate ways. Jiang said, "Don't worry, they had a tough life, so they won't die so easily." Yeah, after the bath, Yu and Jiang returned to their room to sleep. In a small room, Yuaning suddenly said, "Zhongli, I have my sight on you. I want him to be my boyfriend. Will you support me?" Zhongli was surprised for a moment. Yu's figure killing zombies flashed in her eyes, and hesitating for a moment said, "Okay, I will help you." Yuaning looked at Lin Shi next to her and asked, "Lin Shi, you will support me, right? If you become my boyfriend, I'll ask him to protect you." Lin Chi suddenly fell silent. She also had a good impression of you, though not up to the level of love. However, she is not someone that easily gives up her rights. But her character was introverted and weak, not good at rejecting other. 2. Scheming. Ning, if you like you, then use your own ability to capture his heart. What's the use of saying it here? Getting your friends to give up and reducing the competitions? At this moment, Jiang Xing, Jiang Sam, with her eyes wide, looking at Ning, ridiculed. Ning angrily retorted, "This is something between us. What's it to you?" Ning was not thinking about reducing the competitions. She is a very beautiful girl with class. But Chen Yao and Ji Qing Wu was prettier than her. She was not confident that she would beat the other two girls. There was also Wang Qian and Zhang Xian, Zheng Yan, by Qi Yang's side. The two girls was not less pretty compared to her. Zhang Xian was also cute, which made Ning felt uneasy. Zhang Xian sneered and said, "This is not related to me. My only pet peeve is about your approach. You don't really like you. You're only looking for a protector. Your scheme cannot fool anyone." Ning was flushed with anger, shouted, "What you say is nonsense." Zhang Li quickly smoothed things over and said, "Knock it off. We need to get a good rest. I reckon that tomorrow is our turn to go hunting and to level up. If you do not have a good rest, tomorrow you won't have the strength to hunt zombies." After listening to Zhang Li's speech, Ning and Zhang Xian stopped fighting, coldly snorted, and then went to sleep. It was after 12 a.m., in apartment 208, when the door opened. Zhao Zhen and his team quietly exited the room, then quickly headed to the school bus. On the school bus, Zhao Zhen took out a bunch of keys and then inserted a key into the ignition. Yin Yi then sat in the driver's seat and immediately started the school bus. Accompanied by the roaring sound of the engine, the school bus sped out of the area. What is that sound? At the time when the engine was started, Yu's team was abruptly awoken. Dressed in pajamas, Yu immediately rushed to the balcony, only to see the school bus speeding away and a somber look on his face. Chen Yao also came dressed in pajamas, with a worried look, asked Yu what happened. Chen Yao also vaguely guessed the truth, but she just did not want to believe it. Yu, with an ashen face, said, "The school bus was stolen by someone." Ning, with a very pale face, said, "What will we do? How will we get along High City?" In the room, everyone's eyes fell on you. Besides Qi Yang and Ji Qing Wu, the others' eyes were filled with fear. Without a good means of transportation, traveling the 50 or so kilometers to Long High City would be almost impossible. You lightly said, "Don't worry, tomorrow I will go find another vehicle. Everyone go back to sleep." Hearing you say this, the others hesitated a bit, then returned to their room to sleep. The school bus has been stolen. Even if they worried about it, it would do no good. It's really hard to predict a person's mind. You looking out and slowly sigh. He did not thought that the people he just saved would turn around and steal the school bus that was. Jiang came over to console you and said, "Don't be too angry. The school bus is gone. Tomorrow we will go find another one vehicle." Yeah. Yu quickly adjusted his mood and went back to his room to sleep. Zhao Zhen's team was driving away from the neighborhood, heading to Long High City. After traveling for some distance, Li Manny hesitantly said, "Zhao Zhen, should we have done that? You did save us after all." Listening to Li Manny's words, the people on the school felt a bit ashamed. The world has ended not too long, so their dignity was not completely gone. Zhao Zhen console. To get to Long High City, we can only use this method. If we did not do it, we wouldn't be able to get to Long High City. Manny, do not worry. Yu is so powerful, he will be able to easily find his second vehicle. Another boy named Ji Yun, who was a bit resentful, said, "Yeah, Manny, look at you. He only just saved us, but is high and mighty, wanting all of us to listen to his orders. Who's he think he is? He have no class at all." Precisely. The others also agreed. Belittling you can lessen their guilt. At this time, the school bus was heading to the Qingyun area, which is one of the busiest areas in Leijiang City. There were vehicles everywhere on the streets. The zombies were scattered everywhere. He suddenly slowed down and shouted, "Zhao Zhen, there's a blockade in front. What should I do?" In front of them, 8 or 9 vehicles piled up, blocking their way. Zhao Zhen was shocked, acted quickly, and shouted, "Reverse! Reverse immediately! The school bus must not stop. Once the car stopped, it will be surrounded by zombies. They will not be able to fight the zombies." Chapter 38. More Death. Chapter 38. More Death. At this moment, suddenly there was a crashing sound. 2 S1 zombies broke the window and jumped into the car. One S1 zombie grabbed a girl, then bit the in the throat. The blood immediately gushed out from her throat and drenched the zombie. The other S1 zombie clawed another girl, easily leaving a deep gash. "Help! Help!" Suddenly on the school bus, there was chaos in the team. The remaining girls screamed and ran toward Zhao Zhen. In the midst of this small team, Zhao Zhen was their leader, but also their backbone. After biting the girl to death, the S1 zombie continues to pounce forward. As if like cheetah, pounced toward a girl. The zombie opened it bloody mouth wide and bit hard on the girl's neck, breaking her throat. The other S1 zombie also pounced on its prey, biting off another girl's throat. In just the span of a few breaths, 3 girls had died on the school bus. Their eyes were filled with regrets and unwillingness. If they had chosen to stay with you, at this moment they would be alive and well. Zhao Zhen also saw the 2 powerful S1 zombies. It is far beyond the normal zombies. He suddenly shouted, "Stop! Stop the car!" Completely trusting Zhao Zhen, immediately slammed on the brakes. Under the effect of the inertia, the 2 S1 zombies was thrown to the front. They quickly stood up and lunged toward the bunch of people. Just at this moment, Zhao Zhen, holding the novice club, jumped out of the side window, abandoning everyone, and fled away. He has judged that even altogether, although they may be able to eventually kill the 2 S1 zombies, he would definitely be infected as the main fighting force. Everyone was shocked after seeing Zhao Zhen fled the school bus. Prior to this, Zhao Zhen had swore to protect them with his own life, but in the face of danger, he was the first to flee. The trust in all their hearts had collapsed. Li Manny was the first to react, biting her teeth, jumped out of the side window, and fleeing away. Well, she didn't know where she could run to in the darkness, but it was much better than dying in the school bus. This woke the others up, also started jumping out the windows of the school bus. He was also quick to leave the driver's seat. We tried to escape outwards. S1 zombie pounced on his body, throwing them to the ground. The zombie then opened its mouth and bit his throat. The other S1 zombie pounced on a boy who tried to escape and bit off the boy's throat. After killing all those that were alive on the school bus, the 2 S1 zombie did not pursue the rest. They instead started devouring the flesh of the fresh bodies. The various bodies were bitten and torn. The school bus has 7 fresh corpses, enough for the 2 S1 zombies to devour. In the darkness, the zombies were attracted to the sounds of the survivor and staggered after them. The next morning, you woke the others. You quickly asked Luwen, "Wenwen, how much have UMP recovered?" Luwen, with a smile, said, "It has been completely restored." You quickly said, "Immediately treat Ji Qing Wu." Okay. Luwen nodded and placed her hands on Ji Qing Wu's body. 2 white light pouring from her hands into Ji Qing Wu's body. Yuan Ning and the girls gathered around. This was the first time that they saw someone use a skill to treat a person's injuries. They have never seen such magical ability before. Under the pouring light, Ji Qing Wu's pale face began to show a hint of color. You asked, "How are you?" Ji Qing Wu moved her body, her eyes flashing with joy, looked up at you, and said, "It is a lot better." You said to Luwen, continued treating her. Luwen used her skill again. 2 balls of white light went into Ji Qing Wu's body. The white light disappearing, you with concern asked, "How do you feel?" Ji Qing Wu stood up from the sofa and began to stretch her wonderful body and warm up. Ji Qing Wu trained for many years to forge an exquisitely sensual body. With ample chest and wide hips, her elegant and beautiful face, valiant temperament, was extremely charming. You seeing Jiang Wu stretching her glamorous body, his eyes couldn't help but got lost in it. After Jiang Wu finished stretching, looked at you and said, "Recovered more than 50%, should be able to fight. Good. Today, as the people go to search for a new mean of transport, is me, Jiang Wu, Jiang, and Wang. The remaining people are to stay at home. Chen Yao is in charge." You looked at Chen Yao with a serious tone, said, "Chen Yao, remember what I said, no matter how they cried out, don't let anyone in. If someone forcibly break in, use the guns to shoot them. Understand?" "Understand," she quickly replied. After the thugs attacked Chen Yao, she already understood the cruelty of this post-apocalyptic world. With the explanation completed, Yu and Jiang Wu quickly left the community. Outside the community, Wang asked, "Where shall we go now?" Yu has already thought of it, immediately said, "Jiangnan District, Green Shade Street, where the flow of people is small and they sell large vehicles. Ordinary vehicles hitting several zombies will scrapped. Only large vehicles can hit zombies without damage. Without the protection of a school bus, you can only lead the others in a soul sea in order to avoid the dense zombies in the downtown section. Heading towards Green Shade Street in Jiangnan District. The four people walking in remote sections was easily able to dealt with the scattered zombies. With the help of you, Wang successfully challenged a zombie. He finally had the courage to fight the zombie in close combat. They cautiously killed dozens of zombies while heading to Green Shade Street. Green Shade Street, the area was in the outskirts, so there was not many zombies. They successfully made it to the shop that sell Dongfeng truck. In front of the shop, there was 3 big blue Dongfeng truck. A sword cut off the head of the uniform, wearing zombie. You quickly search in the pockets of a zombie and found a bunch of car keys. "We taking the 3 vehicles?" Jiang said to you. They had passed the obstacle and found the keys to 3 trucks. Chapter 39, Hunters. Chapter 39, Hunters. You shook his head and said, "We don't have the drivers. We can only drive 1 truck at this time." After getting on the truck, Wang sat in the driver's seat and asked you, "Where do we go now?" You thought for a moment and said, "Go to Xing Road, Leijiang Bridge." Hearing Yu's words, Wang looked shocked. "We have to go through the mountain pass to get to Xing Road of Leijiang Bridge. But that place is the shopping district of Leijiang City. The zombies there will be dozens of times more than elsewhere. Do you really want to go to that place?" "That's right," you said with a deep voice. "Understand." Wang gritted his teeth, turned the truck around, and head toward the Leijiang Bridge. There were broken vehicles everywhere on top of Leijiang Bride. Even the guardrail were smashed. The whole bridge was blocked by vehicles, with the zombies wandering through lanes. This was a bustling shopping district, and the streets have been blocked by abandoned vehicles. Only those streets that are not bustling will have little traffic. When the world changed, there were a lot of people stuck in traffic, so they were bitten by zombies. On the other side of Leijiang Bride was the city most bustling commercial district, where every Sunday more than 10,000 people gathered to shop and sightsee. The most prosperous district of Leijiang City was now the city's most dangerous areas. They had arrived at Leijiang Bridge. You saw that on the bridge, there were so many zombies wandering around. Sitting in the truck, you looked at the end of the bridge on the other side. He saw that at the end of the bridge, there stood an extremely bizarre gate that was emitting continuous particles of light. There was 4 figures guarding in front of that bizarre gate. Those 4 figures had a long tail, quadruped, body with dark brown, and 2 meters in length with an ugly and ferocious humanoid look. Level 20 boss, Hunter Type 1. This is a being eroded by the virus infection, taking another path of evolution. They only have survival instinct left. Oppressive fighting instincts, speed, and power are without flaw. Have skills, viral infections. As if they were alerted by the engine's sounds, the hunter that was lying on the floor, eating a zombie, raised its head, then quickly abandoning its food, dashing towards Yu's team. The four hunters were extremely keen, speeding through the vehicle wreckage like a cheetah. Jumping over the group of zombies, their speed was extremely alarming, wildly heading towards Yu's team. Reverse! Yu's face became paled and shouted toward Wang Shuang. Wang Shuang, without replying, immediately turned the truck around and stepped on the gas pedal, fleeing toward the rear with urgency. The Dongfeng truck knocked away all the zombies that blocking its way, fleeing far away. The four hunters were in hot pursuit from the rear. After chasing out of the bridge, two hunters stopped and one returned to guarding the gate, while the other was guarding the entrance of the bridge. The remaining two hunters were like cheetahs, chasing after Yu's team. The two hunters are indeed a level 20 boss. Under their full speed, it was above the maximum speed of 80 kilometers per hour of the Dongfeng truck. Little by little, the two hunters constantly got closer to the Dongfeng truck. "What now? You?" Wang Shuang asked Yu with a pale face and cold sweat, after looking at the two hunters in the rearview mirror. This was the first time that he saw a monster speed that was faster than a vehicle. He instinctively felt how terrifying the two hunters were. He was definitely no match for them. "Faster," he said in a deep voice. Wang Shuang nodded and immediately drove toward the highway. "It's over." Wang Shuang, his face turned white with despair and thought. As they had just gotten near the highway and saw the condition of it, the highway was crowded with all kinds of vehicles, firmly blocking the highway. Apparently, when the world changed, most of the drivers wanted to escape using the highway, but did not think that they would get stuck in there as well. The Dongfeng truck simply cannot get through the blocked highway. Yu's eyes flashed a touch of coldness and said, "Stop. Get ready to fight." Wang Shuang knows that the hunter's speed was faster than the truck's speed. They simply could not escape. He gritted his teeth and immediately stopped the truck. "Use the gun. Do not use the novice club." He took off the Type 79 submachine gun from his chest, then jumped off the truck. Facing the level 20 boss hunter, using the novice club in close combat, is simply seeking death. This time when they went to look for a vehicle, each person was carrying a Type 79 submachine gun and 6 magazines. At this point, it is life and death. Even though Wang Shuang did not have the courage, he still took the Type 79 submachine gung off his chest and jumped off the truck, then walked to the Yu side. Only by standing next to Yu did it give him some courage. Jiang and Qingwu also quickly jumped off the truck, holding tightly to the Type 79 submachine gun. The speed of the two hunters was very fast. In a blink, they were only 50 meters away. "Fire!" Yu roared loudly, releasing all his fear, and pulled the trigger, shooting wildly at the two hunters. Wang Shuang, Jiang, and Qingwu at the same time pulled the trigger and shot at the two hunters. A barrage of bullets flying, even though their shooting skills is extremely bad, but with the dense barrage of bullets, it was able to hit the hunter's body. The bullet made a hole in the hunter's body, black blood flowing out. Because the hunter's speed was too fast, the bullet entered their bodies and exited out the back. With bullets going through the body, if it was ordinary creatures, it would have slumped to the ground by now. The two hunters were very sharp and jumped to the side. The two hunters were completely different from the normal zombies. They immediately made the motion to evade, dodging to the side, executing irregular evasive movements. Even hunters, if their brains were hit by bullets and destroyed, they too will die. Also, if their joints were hit by bullets, their movements would also be affected. Their shooting were not accurate, and the two hunters were able to dodge. With their very high speed, Yu's team simply cannot him them. The 20 rounds cartridge of ammunition was soon empty. Taking advantage of the 4 people when changing the cartridges, the two hunters rushed towards them like a cheetah. Chapter 40. Serious Injuries. Chapter 40. Serious Injuries. Without any hesitation, Yu activated the shadow step skill. His speed suddenly soared. He rushed forward like an arrow, slashing at the hunter's head. 30 points increased in agility had made Yu's speed extremely frightening. Almost instantaneously, Yu's sword appeared before the hunter's head. At this moment, a tongue like a bullet shot from the hunter, hitting Yu's sword. it knocked the sword aside, causing the sword to cut the shoulders of the hunters. A metallic sound rang out, and the sword was embedded in the hunter's shoulder bone. The hunter immediately opened its bloody mouth. Its tongue shot towards Yu's face like a bullet. At the same time, White Bones charged forward, swinging its axe like a whirlwind, striking down on the hunter's tongue that was attacking Yu, cutting the head hunter's tongue into two parts, foul blood splattering everywhere. At the same time, Jiang Wu also activated her level 2 high-speed movement skill, and with the sword, slashed at the hunter's body. The sharp sword cut through the hunter's skin and embedded in its bones, but is unable to cut through. Cut off, Yu roared, and uses all his power to press down on the sword, cutting off the hunter's right paw with the sharp sword. When the hunter's right paw was cut off, it swung its tail heavily, smashing Jiang in the chest. Jiang was sent flying, hitting the top of the truck. He spewed a mouthful of blood and had several broken ribs. He had completely lost his fighting capability. The other hunter rushed towards Yu, and with a lightning-fast claw, grabbing at Yu. The hunter's speed was too terrifying. Yu could only abandon the sword. Then with his right hand grabbing the hunter's right claw. The hunter's right claw closed shut. The terrifying power of the grip caused bone-cracking sound to issue from Yu's right hand. If he did not wear the second-degree protective garment, he would already be infected. Taking advantage of Yu sealing the attack of the hunter for a moment, White Bones swung his axe like a tornado, cutting into the head of the hunter. Foul blood splashing everywhere. The hunter's head was instantly cut off and sent flying. The headless hunter's body fell to the floor, when suddenly a blue treasure box, 3 white treasure boxes, a precious skill book, and $200 worth of survival coin burst out. A big ball of white light flew into White Bones, causing it to be promoted to the next level. Just as he was able to kill the hunter, the remaining hunter swung its claws at Yu's heart. Yu was in the shadow step mode, but he only had time to twist his body slightly. The hunter struck him on the chest instead of his heart. Even though Yu was wearing the second-degree protective garment, he was still badly injured from the power of the hunter's blow, but it did not cut his body. But the hunter's powerful blow broke several of his ribs and sent him flying several meters to the ground. At this moment, Jiang Wu extracted her sword, once again with the sword, slashing at the hunter's head. The hunter, without any worry, smashing its tail like a hammer against Jiang Wu's body. Jiang Wu, like a rag, immediately flew 7 to 8 meters, as if hit by a speeding truck. She immediately spit out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, not knowing if she is alive or dead. You catch. At this point, Wang had finished replacing the cartridge of the Type 79 submachine gun. He knows that he is no match for the hunter, and he could only count on Yu. The hunter could tell that Yu was its greatest enemy. It quickly rushed towards Yu, trying to smash Yu's head with its claw. At this time, White Bones appeared in front of the hunter, with its axe cleaving at the hunter's head. The hunter was like a cat, and evaded the strike of White Bones. Its tail, like a hammer, smashed against White Bones' body, sending White Bones 7 to 8 meters away. Go to hell. After seeing the hunter break through White Bones' defensive line, Yu suppressed the pain, spit out a mouthful of blood, then holding the Type 79 submachine gun, started firing wildly at the hunter. Yu's shooting technique was terrible, but the distance between him and the hunter was merely 2 meters. At this distance, it was impossible to miss. The 20 bullets shot through the hunter's body. Its body was full of bloody holes. 2 bullets was lucky enough to hit the hunter's spine. The hunter then dropped to ground from the air. Yu was gasping for air, quickly picked up the sword. With his left hand, tried to cut off the hunter's head with all his power, chopping directly down on the hunter's head. The hunter's head fell to the ground. A blue treasure box, a skill book, 3 white treasure boxes, and a $200 worth of survival coin burst out. A big ball of white light from the hunter's body flew into Yu's body, and the sweet sound rang in his mind. Congratulations, you have been promoted to level 12. You have earned 2 stats points. Congratulations, you have been promoted to level 13. You have earned 2 stats points. In a flash, the 2 sweet sounds of promotion rang out in Yu's mind. You endure the pain and made the choice. Assigned 4 points to Vitality. Vitality determines the speed of recovery from muscle strength and body. You was able to stand up and fight was thanks to the 2nd-degree protective garment protecting him from the powerful blow of the hunter. His body and muscle strength exceeded Jiang Wu and Jiang by 50%. You did not care about future development at this time. He can only choose to increase vitality so that his bones can heal faster. A small stream trickling through his body. Yu's body had been strengthened again. After the strengthening, he felt a little bit better. Jiang, you did not stay still. Brimming with chest pain from the broken bones, quickly rushed to Jiang, whose face was covered with blood. Fortunately, you inspected Jiang breathing and found him still breathing out a sigh of relief. Jiang, but his most important friend and companion. Afterwards, you then check on Jiang Wu's conditions. He found her still breathing, then quickly took the items dropped from the 2 hunters and put it into his backpack, then let White Bones carry Jiang Wu and Jiang into the truck. Chapter 41. Choosing. Chapter 41. Choosing. Wang Shuang sped all the way, quickly returned to the neighborhood. Noticing Wang Shuang below, the girls in the room flooded out and went down. Seeing you, Jiang Wu, and Jiang covered with blood, the girls were in disbelief. In particular was you, they could not think of anything that could injure him so severely, especially when he can fight in a swarm of zombies like it was nothing. After arriving below, Wen looked at Yu's face, which was frowning and full of blood. Her eyes were suddenly misty and full of distress, put her hands on Yu's body. Big brother Yu, how did you get hurt so badly? You wait, I will heal you right now. After resting all morning, Wen had restored some MP. No, immediately treats Jiang. Cough, cough. I can still hold on. Holding Wen's hands, you coughed up some blood and adamantly said. Chen Yao rushed in front of you and softly pleaded. You, first save Jiang Wu. Please, save Jiang Wu first. Her injuries are too serious. The hunter's power was far superior to that of the L1 zombies. With just a strike, both Jiang Wu and Jiang were seriously hurt. If they do not receive timely treatment, both of them will die. Wen, I will kneel here. I beg you, help Jiang Wu. Chen Yao holding Wen's pants, crying on her knees in front of Wen and pleaded. Jiang Wu had risked her life to come to the girls' dormitory to save Chen Yao, showing how close their relationship were. Chen Yao would also make a great effort for Jiang Wu. Wen was suddenly perplexed and looked at you. You wiped his bloody mouth, gasped and said, after you heal Jiang once with your skill, then heal Jiang Wu with it. Quickly. Between Yu's words, White Bones caught Chen Yao's hands and pulled her away from Wen. After Chen Yao was grabbed by White Bones, she cried to Yu and pleaded, please, Yu, save Jiang Wu. Afterwards, I will listen to whatever you say. I beg you, help Jiang Wu. Wen has the ability to heal, but her spirit was too low. The recovery so far from a morning only allowed her to use the skill once, maybe able to save one person. Wen, by Jiang's side, activated her minor injury healing, releasing 2 white lights into Jiang's body, and soon his pale face had a hint of color. Thank you. Zhang Xin, who was by Jiang, thanked Wen. Wen lightly nodded, with a weary face, looked at you, with some distress, glanced at Jiang Wu and said, big brother Yu, I don't have enough MP and cannot activate the skill to save Jiang Wu's sister. Hearing the words of Wen, Chen Yao's eyes flashed with despair. Her face ashen in desperation, couldn't help crying and cursed loudly. You bastard! You bastard, I won't let you go. Whimpering. Bastard, why didn't you save Jiang Wu? Why is that? Wear this protective garment. Go heal her. You endured the pain of the broken bones, took off the 2nd-degree protective garment, and gave it to Wen. Second degree protective garment have all stats +5. It could give Lu Wen the 4 MP she needed for using the minor injury healing. After Lu Wen put on the second degree protective garment, she suddenly felt her body improved significantly. She immediately went to the Jiang Wu side and, facing Jiang Wu, used her minor injury healing. Under the treatment of Lu Wen's skill, which was a very serious injury and occasionally coughing up blood, was restored to normal. Apparently her life was saved. After taking off the protective garment, you felt the importance of the 5 points of vitality. With the protective garment, you could still move around. But once he took off the protective garment, even breathing caused a lot of pain in his chest, extremely difficult to bear. Go inside. You gritted his teeth and ordered, letting White Bones support him while they walked inside. Chun Yao was holding the coma Jiang Wu, while Wang Qian and Zhang Xin was holding the unconscious Qiyang. A line of people carefully returned inside. What really happened? How could it become like this? Zhang Li went to Wang Shuang, who was the only one that was uninjured, and asked. The others also looked over. They wanted to know what kind of force could injure someone strong like you to this condition. Wang Shuang, with a forced smile, explained from the beginning to end. After we found the vehicles, you said he wanted to go to the Jiang Bridge and see. When they heard that the hunters blew away Jiang Wu, Qiyang, and White Bones with one hit, they couldn't help but gasp. They all knew how strong those 4 were. If instead they were to encounter the hunters, they would all be killed within the first glimpse. It seems that it is even more dangerous out there. Even you is no match for the monster. In the room, everyone's heart was enveloped in a layer of haze. It has only been 3 days since the world ended. You had hardly suffered any injury. It was the first time he was wounded. But the injuries was serious enough to the point where he could not walk. Everyone in the room was worried about the future. In the master bedroom, Lu Wen looked at the suffering Yu, who was occasionally coughing up blood, and with distress said, "Big brother Yu, I will take off the protective garment, so you can put it on, okay?" "No. Before you recover 6 points of MP, do not take off the protective garment. Cough, cough. If you do that, you'll be subjected to a mental backfire." You painfully coughed a few times, gasping for air. As soon as he took off his protective garment, he became so weak. It was clear that if Lu Wen took off his protective garment, she would have mental injuries. "I won't take it off. I'm not taking it off." Lu Wen looked you on the bed, with her eyes red. She was distressed while holding his left hand. Your right hand was broken by the grasp of the hunter. It was now swollen purple-black, looking extremely nasty. You ordered White Bones to protect him. He was lying in bed, gasping for breath, and could not even eat rice. If he did not add 4 points to vitality, he would be dead now. It was now nearly dusk when Lu Wen had recovered enough MP and used it to heal you. He soon fell asleep after the torture of the pain he had to go through. Chapter 42. Wen Confession. Chapter 42. Wen Confession. At night, Yu was attracted to the scent of food and opened his eyes. Yu, after a day of fierce fighting, was very hungry and did not have any energy left. He opened his eyes and saw Chun Yao come in with a big bowl of food. The big bowl was filled with steaming rice, covered with 4 slices of luncheon meat, and a layer of stir-fried vegetables. He could not help but show his appetite. Seeing Yu opened his eyes, Chun Yao, with a look of guilt, said, "Are you awake? Sorry, Yu. I should not have screamed at you today." Yu was the temporary leader of this team, undertaking the most dangerous tasks, and also did not use his strength to force the girls to do any dirty things. Chun Yao could see this, and felt ashamed for her behavior in the afternoon. "It's okay." He did not mind and said. He could understand Chun Yao's feelings. If their position were reverse, he would have made it worse. You reached out and wanted to get the bowl of rice, but the slightest movement aggravated his chest injuries, causing his face to be distorted with pain again. Lu Wen, sitting next to him, was somewhat distressed. She received the meal from Chun Yao and said, "Let me feed you, big brother Yu." Lu Wen was by Yu's side, taking care of him since the afternoon. Even after Yu slept, she was still by his side. If her parents saw the little witch caring for someone, they would certainly be surprised. Before the world changed, Lu Wen was a fearless, tricky little witch and extremely headstrong. Even though she got along well with you, she still caused many difficult problems for him. Then I will rely on you. You did not force it. The bones in his right hand was broke by the hunter. Without Lu Wen's healing skill, and without medical treatment, it would take him months to fully recover. Lu Wen sat next to you and carefully picked up the luncheon meat with her chopsticks, then spooned soup along with rice into Yu's mouth. Chun Yao watched as Lu Wen took care of you, her eyes flashing with a strange light. She hesitated for a moment, while staring at you, slowly asked, "You, today, why did you not save Qing Wu first?" You very calmly looked at Chun Yao and slowly said each word. "In my mind, Jiang is more important than Qing Wu. If there is a next time, I would choose the same." Chun Yao looked at Yu's earnest admission, her heart twitching, and couldn't help blurting out, "Don't you think it is too selfish and not like a gentleman?" You slowly said, "I'm sorry. I'm just one guy. Awareness is not high. I can only do so much." Chun Yao was silent for a moment. With a surge of feeling, blurted out, "If today Qi Yang and I suffered injuries, and you could only save one person, which one will you save?" You did not hesitate and bluntly said, "Qi Yang." The room was suddenly thrown into an awkward atmosphere. Chun Yao heard Yu's reply, was silent for a moment, then lightly said one sentence, You have a good rest." With that, Chun Yao then turned and left the room. Lu Wen blinked her large, bright eyes and said with a smile, "Big brother you're really dumb. Just now, if you had said you would choose to save Chun Yao, then maybe she would have agreed to be your girlfriend. Chun Yao's sister is really beautiful. How can it be that simple? Chun Yao is remarkable. Why would she fancy me?" You lightly said, "And I don't want to lie to her. That does not make sense." Lu Wen, eyes blinking, suddenly said, "Yes, big brother Do you and Qiang have that kind of love relationship? Otherwise, how can you not be tempted when Chun Yao is so beautiful?" This phrase caused you to spring up. He suddenly pinched Lu Wen's face with his left hand, gritted his teeth, and said, "This little demon, what's inside your head?" Lu Wen did not dare to struggle. With her suffering little face, said, I'm sorry. I know I was wrong." You let go of the hand pinching Lu Wen's face, and with a helpless smile said, "I don't have that kind of hobby. Are you happy?" With the information of modern society, a variety of information is available on the internet for the world to see. Modern youths know more than ever, even more outlandish information. Lu Wen is a clever and curious little witch that know a lot of stuff. When you was her tutor, he has on many occasions experienced her amazing remarks. Lu Wen opened her beautiful clear eyes and carefully said, "Then I'll be your girlfriend, okay?" The room's atmosphere was awkward again. You now looked at Lu Wen carefully. Lu Wen's hair was tied into a single ponytail. She is full figure for her age, small C cup and a tight white t-shirt, and skin is of a healthy wheat color. It is because she likes to exercise. A small, delicate, and beautiful face with big eyes, looking like a youthful modern girl. Lu Wen is also a feminine girl. You carefully looked at Lu Wen as a woman. His heart can't help but move a bit. Prior to that, he saw her as a little sister and never had a trace of feeling for her. Lu Wen leaned slightly forward, her pretty face blushing, and aggressively asked you, "Your answer? If you're a man, then seriously answer me." You leaned slightly backward, his manner somewhat weak, hesitated for a moment, and said, "If you become my girlfriend, then am I not committing a crime?" Lu Wen with a laugh said, "Big brother how can it be? I'm 15. I will be 16 years old in a few months. By that time, I would have reached adulthood. In Japan, 16 years old can marry and have children. Besides, the world has become like this. Who's going to care about these things? Even if I take 10,000 steps back in the previous world, if I voluntarily be your girlfriend, then it is not a crime." You hesitated suddenly. He was not sure how he felt about Lu Wen. After all, before he did not have any feelings for her. Lu Wen looked at you, then scooped up a spoonful of food into Yu's mouth and quickly said, "If you don't answer, I'll take that as your agreement. Eat quickly. Dinner is getting cold." Yu looked at Lu Wan and thought back to the anxiety and fear she had when she saw that he was hurt and carefully taking care of him. He felt slightly warm inside, and his emotion has undergone a subtle change. Chapter 43, Big Loots. Chapter 43, Big Loots. Yu, Jiqing Wu, and Jiang were the main force fighting the hunters. They were seriously injured and was only able to rest at home the next day. As Lu Wen recovered her MP, she used minor injury healing on Yu, Jiqing Wu, and Jiang. Under Lu Wen's skill, the trio's injuries were contained and began to recover. With the trio being injured, exploring the world, and the searching for supplies of the small team came to a standstill. Even though Wang Shuang was now level 3, without Yu accompanying him, he did not dare fight those zombies. The rest of the girls were even more afraid of fighting zombies. "White Bones, grab my bag." Lying down on the bed, Yu looked at White Bones and ordered. The soul magic flashed in White Bones' eyes. It then picked up the heavy backpack and gave it to Yu. In the last couple days, White Bones has been guarding Yu and his backpack. Inside the backpack was the 2 skill books and treasures dropped by the 2 hunters. Every piece of treasure and skill book was extremely rare in this post-apocalyptic world. If they did not have the minor injury healing skill and could not find a doctor, Jiang and Jiqing Wu would have died, while you would be lying in bed for a few months in order to naturally heal. Sitting beside you, Lu Wen quickly opened the backpack. You took out the 2 skill books with his left hand. Level 3 skill, Weapon Enhancement. Skill description: consuming 2 MP and 2 stamina points to strengthen the weapon, making it sharper. In the weapon strengthened state, 1 MP and 1 stamina point are consumed every 10 seconds. The weapon enhancement effect depends on the user's body. When the user has 10 times the physical fitness of ordinary people, with this skill, the user can attack with even a blade of grass. Level 3 skill, Body Enhancement. Skill description: this skill is a passive skill. After learning this skill, the user will permanently gain 5 strength points and 3 vitality points. After transferring to Warrior Job class, the user will gain 5 strength points and 3 vitality points. You looked at the 2 level 3 skills. His eyes flashed a hint of desire. Both of these level 3 skills are very strong skills. Each is useful to him. The higher the strength, the greater the body can resist attacks, while the higher the vitality, the faster the body would recover. You did not increase strength and vitality before, because even with higher strength and vitality, just getting scratched by zombies, he would become infected and dies. These 2 stats are not useless, but he was most in need of stamina, agility, and power. Those stats allowed him to survive and fight longer. Yu hesitated and did not immediately learn these 2 precious and powerful level 3 skills. Instead, he took out the 2 blue treasure boxes. You have only seen L1 zombie, S1 zombie, and evolved zombies dropped blue treasure boxes. Normal zombies only dropped white treasure boxes. You open the blue treasure box, a blue light flashing, condensing into a silvery, thick barrel revolver. 3rd degree item, Stinger Pistol. Item description: this pistol is 20 years ahead of the world's current gun manufacturing technology. 17. 5mm caliber, 3 rounds payload. It can shoot and kill a large beast. Can automatically generate a special stinger bullet every day. Drawbacks: high recoil. Great stuff. You looked at the Stinger pistol and thought. Currently the world's largest pistol caliber is the Smith & Wesson's American M500 revolver. The pistol has a caliber of 12.7mm and can shoot down lions and tigers. This Stinger ammunition of 17.5mm caliber is close to artillery weapons. Its power can be imagined. You could not wait and open another blue treasure box, blue light flashing, condensed into a blue ring engraved with ancient patterns. 3rd degree treasure, Thorn Ring. After equipping this item, +6 spirit. Supplementary skill. Thorn. Skill description. The user can raise a 3 meters high thorn from the ground to attack the enemy. Limited to within 50 meters of the user. Cooldown time, 24 hours. Can be equipped by anyone. The 2 blue treasure boxes that you opened were great items. He then continued to open the remaining 6 white treasure boxes. Among the 6 white treasure boxes, 4 boxes were empty. The remaining 2 boxes produced 2 imitation Tang sword. 1-1. Wear this ring and heal me. Jiang took the thorn ring and handed it Lu Wen. This is my engagement ring, right? He. Lu Wen smiled and took the thorn ring. She then put the ring on the ring finger of her right hand and carefully eyed the beautiful ring. The thorn ring was an exquisite jewelry, engraved with strange and mysterious runes, looking extremely beautiful. Yu with wry smile said, I will let you wear this temporary. After I recovered, I'm going to wear it out in battles. The thorn ring has a supplementary skill with strong destructive power, and if necessary, even kill a powerful enemy to save their lives. This treasure, as the main fight force, you must equip this himself. Cheapskate. Lu Wen pouted, putting her hands on top of Yu's right hand, and uses her healing skill. Under the treatment, 2 white light flashed. Yu's swollen and fractured right hand began to slowly heal. Seeing Lu Wen concentrated on healing him, Yu was filled with warmth. Treatments from a minor injury healing was not all-powerful. The trio's injuries was too serious. After a full 10 days under Lu Wen's treatment, Jiang, Yu, and Jiang made a full recovery. Yu spread the items out in front of Jiang and asked, These are the items that was dropped from the 2 hunters. This level 3 weapon enhancement skill book, imitation Tang sword, and $200 survival coins is yours. The rest belong to Jiang and me. Do you have any objection? Loot distribution is critical for a team. With unfair distribution, there's the possibility of the entire team collapsing. Even though you contributed the most, he did not want to take all the loots. No objection. Jiang carefully looked at the items that was spread out and nodded in satisfaction. With her extraordinary skill, what is lacking most is power. This weapon enhancement skill enables her to have more destructive power and combat effectiveness. She did not have any objection towards Yu's distribution. Chapter 44. Clearing Xing Road. Chapter 44. Clearing Xing Road. You looked at Jiang and said, Jiang, this thorn ring, imitation Tang sword, and $200 of survival coins is for you. Well, I want a body enhancement skill and stinger pistol. The stinger pistol is powerful, but recoil is also great. Among the others, only you is the one with enough power stats in order to use the weapon. Okay. Jiang did not have any objection. You seriously said, Jiang, Jiang, Wang Shuang, Chen Yao, and Lu Wen, the 6 of us will go clear the zombies on Xing Road. You still want to go provoke those monsters? A worried Wang Shuang said. He did not forget the 2 terrifying hunters. The 4 of them were nearly wiped out by the 2 hunters the last time. Jiang frowned and said, I think we need to raise our level first before challenging the 2 hunters. Our level are too low. Except for you. The rest of yous don't even have the power to fight when facing the 2 hunters. Jiang has already experienced the terrifying power of the 2 hunters. Even though she now has the 3rd degree skill weapon enhancement, in the face of a hunter, she still isn't matched. You is the only one who could compete with the hunters out of the team's fighting force. You said, I know, this time I'm just going to clear the zombies on Xing Road. At the same time, helping you all increase your levels. Leijiang Bridge is guarded by the 2 hunters. I have no plans to mess with them right now. Hearing that they were not going to fight the 2 hunters, Jiang did not oppose Yu's plan. Without any objection, you quickly got on the Dongfeng truck and headed to the truck dealers on Green Shade Street of Jiangnan District. Chen Yao was the driver of the 2nd Dongfeng truck, following the 1st truck. You now have 2 means of transport. The 2 Dongfeng truck quickly arrived at Xing Road. The zombies on Xing Road was immediately attracted to the 2 truck noises. The zombies formed large and small groups. then headed towards the two trucks. Xingning Road is the road to Jiang City's most bustling commercial district. Although not as bustling as the other side of Jiang Bridge, it still has a lot of zombies. There were hundreds of zombies heading towards the two trucks, which was extremely scary. Among the hundreds of zombies, 10 bluish-gray zombies took the lead, as if like a bunch of monkeys heading towards you's team. 10 S1 zombies? So many S1 zombies have evolved after just 6 days? Too scary. Yu's eyes flashed a touch of horror looking at the 10 S1 zombies. When he came here before, there was not that many zombies, and there was no S1 zombies. Just after 6 days, 10 S1 zombies have evolved. The zombies' evolution speed is so fast that humans simply cannot survive. Retreat, Yu decisively ordered. In addition to the 10 S1 zombies, he also saw L1 zombies among the hundreds of zombies. Listening to Yu's order, Chun Yao and Wang Shuang immediately drove the two Dongfeng truck and fled away. The S1 zombies were very fast, but ultimately they were slower compared to the hunters. They were unable to catch up with the Dongfeng truck, and shortly was left behind. Driven to a quiet and safe street, Wang Shuang looked at Yu and said, "What do we do? Where shall we go now?" Yu thought for a moment. Chun Yao immediately drive back. Jiqing Wu, Lu Wen, and you stay here, and responsible for our getaway. Jiang and I will go to Xingning Road and take a look at the situation. With that, you got off the truck, looked at Jiqing Wu, and spoke his mind. Jiqing Wu frowned and said, "Just the two of you? It's too dangerous." In the hundreds of zombies, not only was there S1 zombies, but also L1 zombies. With those special zombies, the threat was far beyond the regular hundreds of zombies. Jiang and Yu's strength were still too weak. You smile? Do not worry. If the situation appears to be bad, we will immediately withdraw, as long as you protect the escape route for us. After you finished speaking, Jiang and him headed towards Xingning Road. On the way, Yu and Jiang encountered more than 10 zombies that were scattered. They easily killed those zombies. Without the sound of the engine to attract them, the zombies scattered, forming several groups. More than 10 groups of zombies were wandering on the streets. The two of them carefully sneaked all the way to Xingning Road. They had just arrived at Xingning Road when 13 zombies were immediately attracted to their footsteps. The zombies then staggered towards them. You charged forward, reaching the zombies after several steps. With a sword slashed, beheaded a zombie. Just as the two zombies beside you got closer, Whitebone swung his axe and cut the two zombies into halves, foul blood splashing everywhere. Jiang had also changed his weapon to the imitation Tang sword. He quickly rushed in front of the zombie and beheaded the zombie. The trio had gotten stronger from raising their level many times, and soon killed the 13 zombies. The trio killing the 13 zombies created some noise. Those zombies that were attracted by the sound staggered over. The zombies continued to merge, forming a mass of corpses. The 10 bluish-gray S1 zombies also headed toward the trio from all directions. The left. You immediately rushed toward the left. On the left, there was one S1 zombie moving towards them. This S1 zombie was the one nearest them. In the span of a few breaths, you had already rushed in front of the S1 zombie. The S1 zombie rushed forward like a monkey and very agilely leapt over Yu's head, a claw trying to hit his head. Yu's agility was in no way inferior to the S1 zombie. He evaded the claws of a S1 zombie. A sword with a beautiful arc beheaded the S1 zombie, sending its head flying, foul blood splashing everywhere. You had just beheaded the S1 zombies when 2 more S1 zombies came running over towards him. At the same time, White Bones, who had been following you around like a shadow, charged forward. With one swing, carrying the sound of the piercing wind, cut the head of a S1 zombie into halves. You also took the chance to slash at the head of the S1 zombie that was approaching. The S1 zombie pulled back slightly, avoiding Yu's slash. However, its right hand was cut off by the slash. Jiang took the chance and got behind the S1 zombie, then beheaded the S1 zombie. After killing 3 S1 zombies, Jiang absorbed the balls of white light and was promoted to level 8. The 3S1 only dropped 3 white treasure boxes and $30 of survival coins. Chapter 45, Stinger Pistol Power. Chapter 45, Stinger Pistol Power. Seeing the trio killed the 3S1 zombies, the remaining 7S1 zombies were unafraid and charged towards them. The S1 zombies evolved with speed beyond ordinary human, but their evolution still lacks the emotion of fear. With 2 S1 zombies left behind, 5 S1 formed a small group, rushing towards Yu's team. The group of 5 S1 zombies was a greater threat than a group of 100 ordinary zombies. "Retreat," Yu shouted loudly, leading everyone back. Jiang and White Bones immediately followed by Yu's side. The trio used speed that transcended ordinary people in retreating, distancing themselves with that huge group of several hundred zombies. The 7S1 zombie speed are above the other zombies and continues to approach Yu's team. After 10 seconds, the 5S1 zombies were within 10 meters of the trio. Yu in a deep voice shouted, "The thorns!" Jiang pointed toward the 5S1 zombies. A gray ray of light from the thorn ring shot out and hit the ground where the 5S1 zombies were. The ground in front of the zombies suddenly rumbled. A sharp thorn of about 3 meters surged out of the ground and directly impaling the head of an S1 zombie, nailing it on top of the thorn. White Bones dashed forward, swinging his axe with a piercing wind toward a S1 zombie, and cutting its head into 2 pieces. Almost in an instant, the 3S1 zombies took the opportunity to attack White Bones' body. After obtaining the reinforced bone skill, White Bones' bones were no longer weak. The 3S1 claws only left scratches, no longer able to remove any bones. While the 3S1 zombies were occupied with White Bones, Yu approached a S1 zombie and beheaded it with his sword. Jiang also took the opportunity and approached another S1 zombie, decapitating it with his sword. The remaining S1 zombie did not have a chance to react when White Bones struck with his axe, cutting the zombie into 2 parts. Intestines and foul blood falling all over the floor. The last 2 S1 zombies charged at the trio. The pressure that you felt toward the remaining 2 S1 zombies was a lot lighter. You facing the 5 S1 zombies alone was indeed very difficult. But facing 2 S1 zombies while wearing the 2nd-degree protective garment and having level so many times was not a difficult task. White Bones took a step forward with 1 strike, directly splitting the S1 zombie into 2 parts, foul blood splashing everywhere. You took out the stinger pistol, took a step forward, aimed at the head of the S1 zombie, and pulled the trigger. With a loud boom, and head of the S1 zombie instantly exploded when struck by the stinger bullet, like if it was struck by an artillery shell. Black brain matters and blood flying everywhere. This is an amazing gun. You could call it a portable cannon. Looking at the exploded zombie's head, Yu's eyes sparkled. With the stinger pistol, if the hunter's head is hit by the stinger bullet, it will be blown to pieces. Even if he can't hit the hunter's head, he can still shoot at any of the hunter's body part. The stinger pistol's recoil was not as great as you had imagined. The recoil was like a normal Type 54 pistol's recoil and not monstrous. You have been promoted to level 14, earning 2 stats points. Please assign the points. After the gun blasted off the head of the S1 zombie, a sweet sound ringed in Yu's head. Assign 2 points to agility. Yu quickly selected. When the world changed, Yu has been increasing power and stamina. That is because using the novice club to kill zombies consumed too much stamina. He wanted enough power and stamina to fight the zombies. But now fighting with the evolved zombies, especially the level 20 hunters, what he needs the most is agility when using a firearm. The 7S1 zombies that were killed dropped a skill book, 6 white treasure boxes, and $70 of survival coins. You quickly picked up all the items on the floor, then retreated with Jiang. The 10S1 zombies were killed by the trio. The rest of the zombies were of no threat to them. Ordinary zombie is extremely slow, even slower than the average person. The speed of the power evolved L1 zombie was only that of an average person. They could not keep up with you and Jiang, who had been strengthened from leveling up many times. You and Jiang used white bones as the core, first killing all the L1 zombies. Fighting while retreating, they killed all the ordinary zombies. After white bones was strengthened, only in battle can it show its ferocity. Ordinary zombies could not hurt white bones at all. White bones in the midst of the group of zombies, wielding its axe, easily slaying the surrounding zombies. Without white bones acting as a shield to draw the attacks of the zombies, you and Jiang would not be able to fight the zombies for too long. Fighting while retreating already consumed a lot of stamina. The trio killed more than 150 zombies, then quickly withdrew, heading towards Jiang. The stamina consumption when fighting a group of zombies is completely different from fighting a single zombie. Even after leveling many times, killing 100 zombies would be somewhat tired. But if surrounded by 300 zombies, after killing 60 zombies, would consume a lot of stamina. There was no way he could kill all the zombies. Speeding all the way, soon returned to where Jiang was. Upon returning to a safe place, you and Jiang each ate an apple of vitality. Jiang walked beside you and asked, "How is it?" You in a deep voice said, "The evolved zombies have been cleared up. About 200 ordinary zombies left. Of course, there are more than 300 residents on crossing Ning Road." It was about 2 p.m. when the world changed. At that point in time, most of the people gathered at the shopping district on the other side of Jiang Bridge, a street exclusive for pedestrian. Those who survived fled to the surrounding area, causing the zombies to turn to other places. At the same time, Jiang was shrouded by a mysterious force. The zombies on the other side of the bridge could not get through, which is why there were so few zombies on Ning Road. Jiang, with eagerness in her eyes, stared at the Yu and said, "Now we'll go clear them up?" Jiang in the past was a fencing expert. She also has a great desire to get stronger. Those days in bed had greatly held her back. Jiang alone cannot deal with 200 ordinary zombies. But with you, Jiang, and White Bone's help, they absolutely can kill more than 200 ordinary zombies if they spend some time. You nodded, yes. Chapter 46, Touching Moment. Chapter 46, Touching Moment. After resting for more than 2 hours, Yu's team once again walked towards Ning Road. Once on Ning Road, the four of them quickly took care of the zombies that they encountered, cleaning up all the scattered zombies. Yu, White Bones, Jiang, and Jiang, each one of them is not weak. After a long time, the four of them was able to clear Ning Road of zombies. After they cleared up the zombies on Ning Road, there were only a few zombies left scattered around the area. Most of those zombies were trapped in apartments, offices, and shops. Having killed more than 200 zombies, Jiang and Jiang were extremely tired and could no longer fight. You did not force it and returned home with both of them. You was lying on top of the bed on the 4th day when Jiang City's power grid stopped working. The electricity in the apartment building was completely shut off. In the afternoon, they had to retreat into the apartment. Back home, after supper, you sat on the sofa and quietly looked at the skill book in his hand. Level 1 skill, Critical Strike. After using the skill, 7 points of stamina will be consumed. The next attack will have double the destructive power. Weapon damage is not considered. You looked at the Critical Strike skill book and slightly frowned. The skill's power is good, but compared to 2nd and 3rd tier skills, it was far worse. 7 points of stamina consumption was too much. You also could not afford to squander it. This skill was of little value to you, who had the Stinger pistol. "Is anybody here? I'm begging you. Please open the door." Accompanied by the sound of knocking at the door, came the voice of a woman pleading. Qingyao took a look at you, seeking his opinion. At this time, with the fighting force and the small group present, also with guns in hand, among the apartment building, there was no threat to them. Seeing you nodded, Qingyao went to the front door and looked through the peephole. Through the peephole, Chen Yao clearly saw that outside the door stood a plump and demure dressed young woman standing next to an 11-year-old boy. A woman and a small child. Before opening the door, Chen Yao reported to you. After being attacked by the mob of thugs, Chen Yao was now more careful. You frowned, thinking for a moment, and slowly said, "Let them come in." Chen Yao opened the door. "Hello, miss. My name is Zhao Li. Would you give us something to eat? We have not eaten for 2 days." Zhao Li grabbed Chen Yao's hand and pleadingly said. At this point, Wang Fong was eating a cookie and walked over. She was curious to see Zhao Li and her son. "Mom, I'm hungry. I want to eat cookies. I want to eat cookies." The boy's eyes lit up when he saw the cookie in Wang Fong's hand and noisily pleaded while grabbing Zhao Li's dress. Zhao Li's eyes were red, with tears running down her face, pulled out a stack of bills and handed it to Chen Yao. "Miss, please, give us something to eat. I'm not asking for nothing. Here is 10,000 yuan for you. Please give us something to eat, or else we're going to be starved to death." Seeing the 10,000 yuan in Zhao Li's hand, Wang Fong's eyes lit up. She came from an ordinary family and have rarely seen a bundle of 10,000 yuan. Chen Yao, after all, is still a kind girl even after experiencing the thugs event. She still was not able to get rid of her kindness. "Sister, you don't have to do that. Wait a bit, I'll get you something to eat." Chen Yao was stopped by Wang Fong, with a serious face said, "Wait a minute. Chen Yao, we don't have much food. How can you just give it to others?" In Chen Yao's apartment, there was 3 rooms. There were more than a dozen people in 2 of the rooms. The food consumption of a dozen people was not small, especially you, Jiqing Wu, and Jiang, whose enhanced body consumed a lot of food. Over these dozen days, the supplies that they gathered from the 2 small supermarkets was almost used up. With such unrestrained consumption of supplies, at best they can only hold on for 5 or 6 days. On hearing the news, the others gathered in the room. Chen Yao's eyes red with anger towards Wang Fong said, "Wang Fong, how can you say that? They are mother and son that have been hungry for 2 days. Don't tell me that you want them to die and not help." Wang Fong harshly said, "It's just their story. Chen Yao, all of these supplies are hard to come by. You just give people food. Did you ask everyone? You know our food reserves, at best, we can only have enough for 5 days. You are a good person to give away food to others. Do you want us to starve?" Listening to Wang Fong's words, Chen Yao and the rest of the girls that were going to help all shut their mouth. They are afraid that if the food runs out at that time, they would not know what to do. Deep down, they are not willing to feed others, but saying no like Wang Fong caused their consciences to feel guilty. So they can only choose to be silent. The world have not changed too long ago. They have not gone through too much suffering, so their conscience have not disappeared. Seeing the other girls were quiet, Zhao Li's eyes filled with fear. Her son and she'd been hungry for 2 days to the point of exhaustion. Otherwise, she did not dare to take the child out of the safety of the room. At this point, you came over with 2 bags of instant noodles in hand, under the gaze of everyone, and said, "For you, you should go back." Seeing you, Wang Fong did not dare to say anything else. She's a very wise person and don't want to be kicked out of the team by you. Zhao Li took the 2 bags of instant noodles, with eyes full of tears, constantly said words of thanks. "Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You are a good person. Come, Xiao Bao, thank Big Brother." With the 2 packets of instant noodles to eat, it enables them to live a little longer. The 11-year-old little boy looked up at you and in a young voice said his thanks. "Thank you, brother." After saying their thanks, Zhao Li took the bundle of 10,000 yuan and put it into Chen Yao's hands, then took her son and quickly headed toward the stairs. Seeing Zhao Li act like that, the girls in the room were touched. Under the protection of you, Jiqing Wu, and Jiang, they have been well fed the last dozen-plus days. Seeing Zhao Li begging and crying over 2 bags of instant noodles left a tremendous impact on their minds. Chapter 47, Incineration. Chapter 47, Incineration. Anonii. My first time editing a chapter. Hope I did alright. Surprisingly, it took longer than I expected, though I said I was doing this for fun. It took me an hour. Qinyao took the bundle of money to you and asked, "What about the money?" Her pedigree was excellent. The $10,000 yuan was not much in her eyes. You, without looking at it, said, "Whatever, whoever wants it can have it." Now that the world has changed, even if you have money, it cannot be used to buy anything. Even if used as toilet paper, you would complain that it's too rough. Now it's just paper. But Wang Fong quickly said, "I want it. Give it to me." Qinyao glimpsed at Wang Fong, then threw the bundle of money to her. Wang Fong looked at everyone, and in her mind she sneered, "A bunch of fools." The government has established a survivor enclave. You will know the pain of having no money when you get there. Money represents the trustworthiness of the government. If there is no government, then the yuan is equivalent to worthless paper. With the existence of the government, the yuan is not worthless and still has the power to purchase. How much it's worth, however, is the question. Jiang Wu went beside you and asked, "We don't have enough food supplies. When will we search for more?" You unhesitatingly said, "Tomorrow." Early the next morning, you convened everyone in the apartment. Zhang Li, Lin Shi, and Suru Shui were left behind to guard, while you led the others to the 2 Dongfeng trucks and left. They've set off again. On the 6th floor, Zhao looked out the window, watching with envy as you left on the Dongfeng truck. She did not have the ability to go out and gather supplies with the others. Using the 2 Dongfeng trucks, you cleared the zombies around 2 nearby convenience stores. After loading all the edible provisions, they returned home. This time, no one complained. Besides Chun Yao, Lu Wen, and Jiang Wu, all the girls were involved in handling the supplies. Compared to Zhao Li, they were very lucky to not have to worry about food. Back home, the girls moved the supplies to the apartment. You killed any zombies that interfered, but otherwise did not help the girls with their job. These girls were afraid of fighting zombies, and you also did not have sufficient ammunition to convert them into marksmen. Their only role right now was to transport supplies. After they finished, you took Chun Yao, Lu Wen, Wang Shuang, Jiang Wu, and Jiang to the 2 Dongfeng trucks and left. He led them to a gas station to fill the 2 trucks and containers with all kind of gasoline and diesel. They even filled water bottles and loaded them all onto the vehicles. Jiang Wu looked at Yu's strange behavior, frowned, and asked, "What are you planning?" Yu in a deep voice said, "I will kill the 2 hunters today." "Why?" "Our levels are still too low. Fighting the 2 hunters will be very dangerous." Jiang Wu argued. After yesterday's battle, she had also advanced to level 8, but she understands how terrifying the 2 hunters are. Even if she were to use her high-speed movement skill, she would still be slower than them. You slowly said, "The zombies are evolving too quickly. The city will be a more dangerous place, so we have to leave as soon as possible. Even a minute earlier would be better." You and his team were able to kill swarms of zombies, only because they had leveled many times and therefore were strengthened. Their power was far above normal zombies, but you, who has been observing the zombies, was able to clearly see that they were constantly evolving. The world had changed for less than a month, but the zombies have already evolved into S1 zombies, L1 zombies, and even terrifying hunters. If they stayed in Jiang City, in terms of 100,000 zombies, even if one zombie evolved the ability to command the other zombies, all of them would die without having a place to be buried. In addition, the searching for Novice Village mission was very tempting to you. You wanted to get the rewards first and then immediately evacuate. Jiang, who was a person of few words, came up and said, "I agree with you. We're surrounded by zombies, but are currently safe. Once there are intelligent zombies, we will be the first to be eliminated because of our aggressive hunting of their kind." Jiang Wu frowned and thought for a moment, then said to you, "Okay, tell me about your plan." The Dongfeng truck drove near Jiang Bridge, and the roaring sounds of the truck attracted the 2 hunters. The 2 hunters were like cheetahs, hurling towards them. As the two hunters moved, the truck also began to retreat. You sat there, quietly watching the situation. He observed that the two hunters did not stay at the bridge, but after rushing out for 500 meters, they returned to their post. Compared to pursuing the enemies, it seems that guarding the gate was more important. You, noticing the two hunters turned around, immediately said, "Go back." Wang Shuang once again drove the Dongfeng truck near Lei Jiang Bridge. Seeing the truck returning, the two hunters came hurtling towards them once again. Reverse! You, Jiqing Wu, and Xiang took the loaded containers of gasoline and diesel and crazily poured them out on the road. Lu Wen and Chun Yao also squeezed in, throwing the bottles filled with gasoline and diesel out the back of the truck. The Dongfeng truck, driven by Wang Shuang, then began to retreat. This time under the command of you. The truck got very close to the bridge, so that two hunters would quickly rush out and approach them. As the hunters rushed out of Lei Jiang Bridge, droplets of gasoline and diesel splashed as they sped through the road. After seeing that the two hunters had covered 200 meters, you immediately lit up a homemade torch and threw it at them. The torch fell on the gasoline-soaked ground and immediately began to burn. The flames burned along the road and quickly caught up to the two hunters. The hunters with gasoline and diesel on their limbs were engulfed by the flames. In the midst of the fire, one of the bottles filled with gasoline and diesel exploded, blowing thick smoke into the sky. Are they dead yet? You stared at the flames and hoped that the two hunters had been incinerated. Chapter 48. Fierce Battle with the Hunters. Chapter 48. Fierce Battle with the Hunters. Immediately from the flames came the sound of explosions. The two hunters were burning, and the odor wafted through the air. The two hunters rushed out despite this. Different from the normal zombies, hunters have evolved vision, smell, and pain sensation. They would not die when hit by bullets, but they can feel pain. The pain can help them avoid fatal damage, unlike the ordinary zombies, and were not as stupid to get beheaded without evading. Lu Wen looked up at the still burning body of the two hunters, her eyes filled with horror. How can this be? They actually didn't die. If ordinary people were in those kind of flames, they would have long been charred. Wang Shuang looked at the two burnt hunters, feeling extremely tensed, and stepped on the pedal hard. Chun Yao, use your skill, attack the hunter's head, you said while facing a hunter. Chun Yao nervously nodded, then pointed toward one of the hunters and unconsciously started chanting a mysterious mantra that she did not understand. Chun Yao mantra chanting lasted for 20 seconds. A strange magic flame then appeared before her fingers out of thin air. The next moment, a fist-sized red fireball flew toward the hunter's head. The ball was too fast, and the hunter only had time to move away slightly. The fireball struck the hunter's body. As if hit by a rocket artillery, the hunter's right shoulder was instantly blown off by the fireball. The blast was so powerful that it pierced through without dispersing and flew directly to the ground. Such powerful magic! He was slightly surprised. The magical power released by Chun Yao was greater than he had expected, but the drawbacks of the magic release was also very obvious. The cast time was too long, so Chun Yao could only cast a limited number of times. After releasing the fireball, Chun Yao became somewhat sluggish. "Stop the truck," you shouted in a deep voice. Wang Shuang stepped on the brakes, causing the Dongfeng truck to come to a stop. Once the truck stopped, you, Jiqing Wu, and Xiang took their Type 79 submachine guns, then quickly jumped down from the back. The hunters quickly headed towards Trio. They were within 40 meters. The trio immediately pointed their gun at the hunters and started wildly shooting. The shower of bullets caused the two hunters' bodies to be full of bloody holes, but they chose to continue advancing. The hunters were blazing fast, their bodies flashing a couple times before appearing in front of you, with a claw outstretched, trying to grab him. When you activated the Shadow Step skill, his agility increased tremendously to the point where it was on the same level as the hunters. He then held the Stinger pistol up toward the hunter and fired. The hunter premonition of danger was extremely sharp. The moment that you took out his stinger pistol gave birth to a feeling of extreme danger, so the hunter twisted its body slightly. With a loud bang of gunfire, the hunter's right shoulder and arm was completely blown off from its body. If it did not make an attempt to avoid an advance, the gun would have blown off its head. Under great impact, the hunter was thrown backwards. As it was flying back, it opened its big mouth, and its tongue like a sharp arrow shot towards Yu's head. At this time, White Bones, who was standing beside you, got in front of him. The hunter's tongue immediately pierced into the body of White Bones, while Jiang Wu activated her high-speed movement skill and weapon enhancement skill. The imitation Tang sword was covered in a layer blue light. As a master of martial arts, she took advantage of the situation that appeared before the hunter, striking the hunter's leg with her sword. The hunter swung its tail while in midair, aiming for Jiang Wu's head. Jiang Wu's head would be crushed if it was hit. In this time of crisis, Jiang Wu bent her body slightly, sword twisting, and slashed at the hunter's tail. The imitation Tang sword enhanced by the weapon enhancement skill was very powerful. The sword cut off the hunter's tail like it was tofu, splattering blood on Jiang Wu. Jiang had used this time to change the Type 79 submachine gun's magazine. He began to shoot wildly at the escaping hunters, emptying the magazine after 20 shots. Most of the bullets missed. Only a few hit the hunter, but did not cause much damage. White Bones grabbed the hunter's tongue. Taking advantage of it while it was in midair, White used his power to pull the hunter towards you. You calmly stood there without moving. Coldness flashed in his eyes, and he was extremely calm. When the hunter was pulled in front of him, he quickly brought the stinger pistol up to the hunter's head and pulled the trigger. With a loud bang, when the hunter's head was shot by Yu's gun, foul blood splashing everywhere. A big ball of white light flew into you. A skill book, a red gem, for white treasure boxes, and $200 of survival coins appeared next to the dead hunter. You have been promoted to level 15. You have been promoted to level 16. After killing the hunter, two sweet sound of leveling rang out in Yu's head. Distribute all to agility. You decided to put all 4 stats points into agility, then quickly rushed forward. The hunter that got its shoulder blown off by Chen Yao at this moment was rushing over like a speeding cheetah. Jiang pointed toward the hunter, and a light flashed from the ring on his hand. Afterwards, a yellow light fell upon the ground. A 3-meter-tall spike rose out of the ground, piercing towards the hunter. The hunter's reaction was extremely fast, coiling its tail around the spike. Relying on its tail to stop, it escaped unharmed. The hunter released its tail from the spike and jumped down. You rushed at the hunter like an arrow, aiming his stinger pistol at the head of the hunter and pulled the trigger. The hunter has already seen the stinger pistol's power. It smacked its tail on the ground and flew to the side. With a loud bang, a big hole appeared on the right side of the hunter. With crushed bones, shattered internal organs, foul blood splashed everywhere. Ordinary creatures that received such damage would have died long ago. However, the hunter was still not dead, with its tail curled around the spike. The hunter shot towards you like an arrow, aiming a claw at his heart. Chapter 49, 6th Degree Treasure. Chapter 49, 6th Degree Treasure. At this time, White Bones, who was beside you, wielded his axe, creating a sharp wind which cut the hunter into 2 pieces. The foul blood and entrails splashed all over you. A big ball of white light flew into White Bones' body, raising its level. Scattered around the hunter was a green treasure box, a skill book for white treasure boxes, and $200 of survival coins. After the 2 hunters were killed, you heaved a sigh of relief. Their options had run out. If they had not gotten rid of the 2 hunters, they would have all died there. You picked up all the items that were dropped by the 2 hunters. 3rd degree item, Magic Gem. This is a magical gem. It is necessary for upgrading weapons. Level 3 skill, Devil Flame. Activating the skill will consume 5 SP and 5 MP. After the skill is activated, 2 SP and 2 MP will be consumed every 10 seconds. The Devil Flame's power is dependent on the user's spirit, stamina, strength, and vitality. Level 3 skill, Plant Manipulation. Activating the skill will consume 3 SP and 3 MP. After the skill is activated, 1 SP and 1 MP will be consumed every second. The power of manipulation is dependent on the user's spirit and stamina. You open the green box. A ball of green light surged out, condensing into a 2 meters long green spear engraved with strange patterns. Third degree item, Green Devil Spear. The spear is extremely sharp. It can cut through gold and jade. You open the white treasure boxes one by one. Between the light flashing, 8 white treasure boxes had just turned into 2 imitation Tang swords, while the rest dissipated into thin air. You looked at the 4 treasures dropped by the 2 hunters, thinking for a moment, and then chose the Devil Flame and the Magic Gem. I want the Devil Flame skill book and Magic Gem. The skill books and items dropped by the 2 hunters were high quality. You had to carefully consider before making a choice. Jiang looked at both the skill book and the Green Devil Spear, then said to Jiang Wu, "You can choose first." Jiang Wu checked out the Green Devil Spear and Plant Manipulation skill for a while, and finally looked up at Chen Yao while holding the skill book and said, "I want this, you guys can have a rest." Jiang stored the imitation Tang sword behind him and quietly picked up the Green Devil Spear. You looked at the bazaar gate on the other side of the bridge. His eyes flashed with a burning desire and said, "I will go over there to complete a mission. Wait for me here." After he finished saying, you and Whitebone set off toward the other side of Jiang Bridge. There were vehicles' wreckage everywhere. Even the guardrails were broken and shattered. Everywhere were stained with black blood, but there were no zombies' corpses. Even in the vehicles, there were no zombies. You rushed all the way, looking at the strange sight, and thought in his mind, did the 2 hunters eat all the zombies? You did not think too much about it, and quickly rushed to the other side of the bridge. The bazaar gate with the particles of light appeared before you. He could not see the boundary of those particles of light. He saw an ocean of zombies crowded together in that particles of light. A crowd of hundreds of zombies was paled in comparison. You could only feel helplessness, even though he had leveled many times. The ocean of zombies was covered in a mysterious force and did not pay attention to you getting closer. Otherwise, you would not dare get even half a step closer to those particles of light. You stepped towards the bazaar gate, his body abruptly disappearing before everyone. With a flash of white light, you emerged in a bizarre, fantasy-style place, brimming with strange symbols. Congratulations, you have completed the Novice Quest, searching for Novice Village Jiang. You have been awarded $1,000 of survival coins as a quest reward. As the first to complete the quest and discover the existence of Jiang, you have won a treasure raffle prize. It's a prize wheel. There are treasures from 2nd degree to 6th degree. With a voice sounding in Yu's head and a flash of light, a round roulette board rose up in front of his eyes. On the roulette board, each golden section is engraved with a number, ranging from 1 to 999. Please select the number you want. A message automatically sounded in Yu's head. You took a careful look at the roulette board. After not being able to discover any clues, he then picked a number 536. The golden section lit up. That golden section with the number 536 flew out, a light flashing, then condensed into a black ring with ancient and mystical runes, falling automatically into Yu's hand. 6th degree treasure, storage ring, spirit plus 15. This precious ring is created by spatial technology. Within this ring is a 3x3x3 storage space. With this ring, you'll be able to better store your personal items. This is truly a great treasure. You put the ring on his finger and stared at the storage ring, his eyes flashing with joy. With this storage ring, he will be able to store many treasures and supplies. After the storage ring fell into Yu's hand, the golden roulette board immediately disappeared into the ground. After the golden roulette board disappeared, The alert sound did not disappear. Since you are the first to complete the novice quest, the system will award you a third-degree protective garment. In addition, you have received the title of Lei Jiang Village Discover. Lei Jiang Village Discover effect. Power +1, Agility +1, Vitality +1, Stamina +1, Spirit +1, Strength +1. Third-degree protective garment. Can resist the infections of level 30 or below 50 times. Can also defend against 12. 7mm caliber bullets. Bonus, Power +10, Agility +10, Vitality +10, Stamina +10, Spirit +10, Strength +10. Bonus stats will not stack with other protective garments from the magical system. Durability 50/50ths. Magical system sell price $1,000 survival coins. You look at the third-degree protective garment, his eyes full of surprise. The third protective garment is amazing. With the defense against 12. 7mm caliber bullets. It would mean that even heavy machine guns cannot penetrate defenses. You took off the second-degree protective garment and put on the third-degree protective garment. After wearing the third-degree protective garment, he felt much lighter than in the past. This mysterious area was just like the earth. Rays of sunlight shining down from the sky. The ground was all made up of marble. It was bright, clean, and beautiful. Underneath Yu's foot was a huge magical array, filling it with a magical atmosphere. This mysterious region was filled with buildings. Yu's current location was an empty square. Hanging over the square was a strange crystal ball. Inside that crystal were burning flames, forming the words for 24. The streets were empty with no sign of human population. Yu was the only one. You looked around a bit, then walked into nearest bar from the square. The bar in the outside world was completely different. The bar was filled with metallic rock music, colorful neon lights, and bartenders serving drinks. On the stage were dancers dancing, wearing only bras and panties. There were loud cheer from the audiences on the side, and majestic bears drinking big mouthful of beer with the temperament of a mercenary. The whole bar was filled with a weird and fantastical atmosphere. Most people only glimpsed at Yu after he entered the bar, then ignored him. Chapter 50. Gathering Information. Chapter 50. Gathering Information. Yu went straight to the counter and sat down. A middle-aged man wearing a bartender uniform walked by. Yu was handed a copy of the menu. He then smiled and said, "Young man, welcome to Lei Jiang Bar. This is the bar's menu." Yu took the menu and carefully looked at it. He saw that the menu was filled with a wide range of alcohol. There were Chateau Lafite and Flying Maotai. They were precious alcohol worth several millions as well as ordinary alcohol, but here it was only $1 survival coin for a large glass. In addition to the various alcohol from the real world, on the last page of the menu was 2 bizarre drinks, Stamina Recovery Fruit Juice and Spirit Recovery Fruit Juice. Stamina Recovery Fruit Juice. After drinking, will restore 15 SP after 5 minutes, $20 survival coins for a glass. Spirit Recovery Fruit Juice. After drinking, will restore 15 MP after 5 minutes, $20 survival coins for a glass. You had no interest in the alcohol, pointed to the 2 fruit juices, and asked the bartender, "Can I pack the fruit juice to go?" The bartender laughed and said, "Of course not. You can only enjoy these fruit juices here. However, for the other alcohols, as long as you can package them to go. You must pay for the drinks first." You pulled out a $20 survival coin and threw it to the bartender. A glass of Stamina Recovery Fruit Juice. Bartender took Yu's money and retreated to the back, then soon handed Yu a green drink. Yu drank the Stamina Recover Fruit Juice slowly, a sweet and sour taste spreading throughout his taste buds. He soon drank the juice in one gulp. A warmth feeling flowed throughout his body, and he was able to feel his body recovered. After finished drinking the fruit juice, Yu started at the bartender and asked, "Are you human?" The bartender smiled and said, "Of course I am human." Yu continued to ask, "You are a human of this world?" The bartender's eyes shrank slightly, still keeping that smile. "Your gaze is pretty good. I'm not a human of your world. You curiously asked, what world are you from? The bartender smiled wryly and said, system restriction, no comment. You continued asking, the existence of the magical system of the gods, have you seen it? The bartender sighed and said, in the face of that kind of existence, we are nothing but ants. How can we see it? You thought for a moment, then frowned and said, why did you come to our world? Your strength is not weak. Yu's spirit, after increasing several times, had become more sensitive. He could feel that the very nice bartender was like a fierce beast with strength far above him. The bartender with massive strength smiled, with long sides said, back in my world, the living environment is 10 times worse than here, and the enemies are more frightening. In our world, even at my strength, must struggle hard for a full meal each day. In constant fear, becoming a slave, entirely at the mercy of others. Although I have now become a subsidiary of the system, similar to an NPC in your game, and is subject to the system. But life is 100 times better than in the past, and this kind of life has been very satisfying. Listening to the bartender's words, you felt a sense of urgency. The bartender's strength was far above him. Even such a strong person was willing to become an NPC of the system, can show us how cruel and terrifying that world was. You asked, in the square, what does that flaming number in the crystal ball means? Bartender stretched out his hand and said, information cost $5 survival coin. You must pay the appropriate fee in order to get any information from me. This is a system regulation. You pulled out a $5 survival coin and threw it to the bartender. It represents the end of the time limit. Now that you have found the novice village, then 24 hours later, the system that had been restricting the zombies inside the shopping district of Jiang City will be lifted. They will be wandering Jiang City in accordance with their instinct. Various zombie evolutions will be lifted at that time. Hunting zombies in Jiang City will be 10 times more dangerous than in the past. After listening to the bartender's words, you had gone cold. The zombies was already terrifying enough now, and its evolution was restricted. Once their evolution is lifted, he does not know what they would evolve into. You frowned and slowly said, don't tell me that the restriction is lifted because of me. The bartender shook his head and said, no, the system is going to give 1 month time. After a month, the restriction on the zombies everywhere will be lifted. A month after that, searching for the novice village mission will end. Novice villages that are not found will disappear. The people in those areas will not have the opportunity to change their job or purchase a variety of items beyond the technology of this world. Hearing the bartender's words, you relaxed slightly and immediately asked, what are the requirements for the appearance of a novice village? $10 survival coin. You threw the $10 survival coin to the bartender. The bartender said, each of the city's busiest shopping district with a population surpassing 1 million will have the appearance of a novice village. You asked, how much does it cost for the information on zombies evolution? The bartender shook his head and said, the system does not permit the sale of this information. You once again asked about issues that concerned him. The system does not permit the sale of this information. The bartender only answered with that one phrase when asked with various important questions, just like an NPC in the game. Looks nothing like a flesh and blood human that comprehend. You pushed a $10 survival coin in front of the bartender and said, finally, I want to buy a piece of advice. Do you have any good suggestions? After taking Yu's money, the bartender with a solemn look said, you have reached level 10. Go change jobs and buy all the items you need to survive. Then immediately escape Jiang City. When the zombies evolve, you currently do not have the capability to deal with them. Changing job is necessary because not only does it come with a skill, but you can also use survival coins to buy job skills in the career center. You should already know the power of a skill. One more skill mean more abilities and hidden trump card. Before level 30, most people can only learn 3 active skills. But learning job skills have no limits. You nodded, then immediately stood up from the seat and quickly walked outside. Chapter 51, Job Change. Chapter 51, Job Change. Outside the bar, you walked along the street, then went into the towering Career Center building. Welcome. I'm the receptionist Xiao Mei. You have reached level 10 and have met the requirement for the first job change. May I ask what kind of job do you want to change to? You had just entered the Career Center when a woman who looks very beautiful in professional uniforms walked toward him with a smile and said. You looked at Xiao Mei and lightly said, "Please give me the list of jobs that I can change to." Okay. Xiao Mei smiled, pointed in the air, and a white light flashed. Afterwards, a three-dimensional projection appeared in Yu's eyes. The job list flashing in that three-dimensional projection made you dizzy. Doctor, soldier, assassin, maintenance worker, blacksmith, lawyer, translator, warrior, mage, warlock, summoner, beast tamer, and hunter. All sorts of jobs in the real world and fantasy world was listed, an all-encompassing list. You pointed to the doctor job. The three-dimensional projection changed, and an introduction of the doctor profession quickly emerged. Doctor description. Doctor is a job that a team should not lack. Priest can quickly cure a variety of injuries by magic. Doctors use conventional methods of healing, and recovery speed is not as fast as priests. However, doctors are able to use drugs to treat viral diseases, developed a variety of new drugs, and to achieve the scope of injuries and diseases. After changing the job to doctor, we'll obtain the skill, common medical skill. You pointed to the soldier job. The three-dimensional projection changed, and an introduction of the soldier profession quickly emerged. Soldier description. Soldiers are basic combat profession. Close combat is not weak, but they're not good at close combat as warriors. However, they're well-versed in using firearms. After a successful job change, we'll obtain the skill, General Firearms Control. Yu's eyes lit up. General Firearms Control is very good for him. He did not go through any training, so his marksmanship is extremely poor. With this skill, his strength would greatly improve. You did not rush to change job, and just flipped through the job's description. Each job, after a successful job change, will get a job skill, allowing you to go from an ordinary person to be a part of that field. You skipped all the support jobs and directly looked at the combat jobs. Support jobs had many uses, such as maintenance worker can repair cars. Blacksmith job can create enchanted weapons. Doctors can cure the diseases and develop new drugs. They play a great role on the team, but these job skills cannot compare to combat job skills. You viewed many combat jobs, but felt that they were paled in comparison to the soldier's skills. Firearms control allowed the Stinger pistol he has to have greater destructive power. And compared to the magical world of warriors, warlocks, and mages, soldiers' profession are better able to survive in this real world. The mage's casting speed is too slow. They haven't even finished casting before getting killed. As for close combat ability, warriors was definitely superior to soldiers. But a rocket launcher would take care of a warrior. Well, this is... You, after scrolling through the second page, saw a job in dark light flashing. He pointed at it, and soon the job appeared from the hidden black light. Hidden job, Dark Knight. A knight that controls the violent darkness power. Once the job change is successful, we'll obtain the skills. Art of Fear, Night Enhancement. You had a look at the Dark Knight's job description and decisively made a choice. I choose to change job to Dark Knight. It was an extremely important selection for you. A black light surrounded his feet from a magical array. He soon disappeared from the place, and the next moment appeared in a temple full of magical atmosphere. The dark light from a magical array under his feet started to flow up and into his body, condensing into two mysterious runes inside his sea of knowledge. Level 2 skill, Art of Fear. Active skill. Activating the skill will make biological creatures lose 5 points of spirit and put fear in their heart, shaking their will to fight. People with low spirit are more susceptible. This skill can be used with a single target within a distance of 200 meters, but within 20 square meters, will affect all targets. Consumed 3 MP each time. Level 2 skill, Night Enhancement. Passive skills. After learning the skill, User will have night vision and sees farther than the daytime. At night, your senses will be greatly enhanced and more sensitive to premonition of danger. After the job change is completed, the dark power lingering beside you also vanished. You had his head down while thinking about the application of the skills, and then marched toward the center of the temple. At the center of the temple was a man wearing a mysterious runes engraved, all black, exotic shiny body armor. The Dark Knight was standing there like a pole. He just stood still, giving off a feeling of suffocating oppression. You walked in front of the Dark Knight standing there and said, "I am new Dark Knight that just went through the job change, sir. I want to buy the job skills." The cold Dark Knight looked at you and pointed at the air. Another three-dimensional projection appeared, and a list of Dark Knight skills appeared before you's eyes. There were a total of 9 skills in the three-dimensional projection, 3 level 1 skills and 6 level 2 skills. You quietly browsed the 9 skills and thought, so expensive. Level 1 skills each cost $300 survival coin, while the level 2 skills each cost $1,000 survival coins. You browsed the 6 level 2 skills, his eyes flashed with desire. Summon Skeleton Beast, Beast Tamer, Shadow Step. All of these skills are great. Each of the 6 level 2 skills are extremely rare. You could get another ability if you obtain it. When you saw the 6 level 2 skills, his eyes lit up. He quickly pointed at a skill and paid $1,000 survival coins. The black projected skill turned into a black light and flew into Yu's sea of knowledge, condensing into a black rune. Level 2 skill, encompassing body armor, able to summon an undying creature body. The undying creature appeared as an armor to protect the castor. Activating the skill cost 10 SP and 10 MP duration of 15 minutes. Chapter 52, Stinger Model 2. Chapter 52, Stinger Model 2. You suddenly walked in front of the Dark Knight and asked, "Senior, may I ask if you have any advice for me?" The Dark Knight quietly looked at you and coldly said, "Must be ruthless. Your heart is not ruthless. It will be very difficult to survive." After saying those words, the Dark Knight closed his mouth, as if he was a statue, standing still in the temple's center without a word. You was silent and courteously thanked the Dark Knight while facing him, then went back to the magical array. With a flash of light, you quickly disappeared from the temple. The Dark Knight quietly stared at you as he disappeared, a different light flashing in his eyes, not saying anything. After leaving the temple, you went directly to the equipment upgrade store. In the equipment store was a bearded man holding a bottle. He was sitting there bare-chested, with traces of burnt mark on his body. Seeing you come in, that weapon upgrade master lightly said one sentence, "Come to upgrade weapons." You nodded and asked, "How many survival coins do I need to upgrade third-degree weapons?" The weapon upgrade master lightly said, $500 survival coins and a magic gem. After hearing this, you were slightly relieved. Not counting the $1,000 survival coins from the quest bonus, he had only $600 survival coins after purchasing the encompassing body armor skill. You pulled out $500 survival coins, a magic gem, and the stinger pistol, then handed them to the weapon upgrade master and said, "Help me to upgrade." The stinger pistol, great item. Youngster, you have some skill and luck to get this kind of equipment nowadays. The weapon upgrade master looked at the stinger pistol, then pointed at the air. The stinger pistol flew in front of him and suspended in the air. He casually pointed at the air, and an enchantment spell burst out of thin air. The magic gem flew into that enchantment spell, blooming into a dazzling light. In the next moment, the stinger pistol also flew into the enchantment spell and instantly disintegrated. A thin ray of light began to sculpt out the stinger pistol in that enchantment spell, reconstructing the stinger pistol once again, eventually forming a silver handle, 6 rounds 20 millimeters caliber revolver. The silver revolver immediately fell into Yu's hand. 4th degree weapon, Stinger Model 2. This version has a higher destructive force. The revolver will never break unless destroyed by external force. It automatically generates 2 rounds a day. If ammunition is sufficient, you can use it to shoot tanks. Of course, the condition is that your shooting skill must be adequate. You looked at the Stinger Model 2 in his hand, his eyes full of joy. After upgrading the Stinger to Model 2, not only is it more powerful, but it can also automatically generate 2 rounds per day, which greatly increased the value of the Stinger revolver. You said his thanks to the weapon upgrade master and left. Thank you very much. After leaving the weapon upgrade store, you turned and went into the equipment store. Seeing you enter, an attendant who looked quite pretty smiled and said, "Welcome." You toward the pretty attendant said, "I want to see the equipment list." "Yes." The attendant pointed at the air, and a list of the various types of equipments appeared. You carefully viewed the equipment list. Contrary to his expectations, the equipment list was empty, meaning there was not even a first-degree protective garment. Stinger 2 special bullet price, $50 survival coins per round. At the bottom of the equipment list, you saw equipment that he could use. So expensive. You looked at the Stinger bullet with a wry smile. The Stinger bullet was so expensive that he could not afford it. You turned to the next page and immediately brightened up. On the second page was a wide variety of medical drugs. One which allowed a person to regenerate limbs, another one which can quickly restore stamina, and another one that can cure various kinds of poisons. However, at the end of that last page was 6th-degree medicine, G-drug. Can treat viral infections that have infected the body. Price, $50,000 survival coins each. You looked at the G-drug enviously. It's too expensive. I'm really poor. If you had enough money, he would buy the G-drug as a backup. After all, who knows what enemies he would encounter in the future. After a few pages, you found that besides the medicines, there were no powerful equipments on the list. You closed the list and asked the attendant, "These are the only equipments." The attendant politely said, "Yes. Besides the medicines, you can only buy equipment from the system when others have sold it to the system." "Thank you." You nodded, then turned around and left. After leaving the equipment store, you entered the mission building. A very pretty attendant smiled and went up to you, then pointed at the air. A huge mission list appeared in front of you. Welcome to the mission hall. You are welcome to accept a variety of missions posted here. Recapture the fallen city of Beijing. In order to complete the mission, you must clear up all the zombies within the 5th ring. Time limit of 1 year. Time starts when mission is accepted. After the recapture of Beijing City, the faction leader will receive a 5th-degree protective garment, $50,000 survival coins, plus 5 levels, plus 2 skill points. Beijing Conqueror title. No penalty if mission failed. Recapture the fallen city of Nanjing. The mission list was full of recapturing of major and minor cities in China. You looked at the mission, eyes filled with shock. Beijing has fallen? If that is so, then the government chain of command is incapacitated? Like a dragon without a head, without the guidance of the central government, you could not imagine what the local governments would be like in this post-apocalyptic world. He could see that in the future, warlords will fiercely compete for power and fighting over land in China. You looked at the huge mission list as if a large rock was pressing down on him. This is terrible. Recapture the fallen city of Nanning. In order to complete the mission, you cleared up 100 zombie chiefs within the city. Time limit of 1 year. Time starts when mission is accepted. After the recapture of Nanning City, the faction leader will receive a 4th-degree protective garment, $10,000 survival coins, plus 3 levels, plus 1 skill points, Nanning Conqueror title. Nanning City has fallen too? Yu's heart fell into a pit seeing that piece of news. His parents lived in Nanning City. Seeing the news that Nanning City has fallen, if only he could grow wings and fly back home immediately. Chapter 53. Accepting the Missions. Chapter 53. Accepting the Missions. You kept his worries under control and asked the attendant, "If I do not accept the mission and take people to recover the city, will I still get the reward?" The attendant smiled towards you and explained, "You will not. If you don't accept the mission, even if you complete any of the missions, you still will not receive the rewards. After hearing that, you continued to quietly thumb through the mission list looking for a good mission. In the mission list, besides recapturing the major cities in China, there were also other missions to recapture major foreign cities. New York, London, Tokyo, Berlin, Moscow, and major cities in the U.S. have completely fallen. Besides the recapturing of major cities, there were no other missions. You asked, after I accepted the task, will there be a penalty if I don't complete it? This is something you must ask. The attendant maintained a sweet smile and said, no, even if you accepted the mission and do not complete it, there will not be any penalty. You smiled and accepted all the missions on that mission list. In this mysterious region, in addition to the Job Change Temple, Mission Temple, Equipment Shop, and Equipment Upgrade Shop, there were also other shops where you can purchase survival supplies. A survival coin can purchase a kilo of rice. There is also a Strengthening Temple. That Strengthening Temple will increase one stats for 1,000 survival coins. In that Strengthening Temple, you increased 1 point of agility. Besides these 5 shops, the rest of the places were covered with a mysterious glow. As you got near that mysterious glow, he immediately bounced off the glow and a statement appeared in his mind. Your level is insufficient. You do not have permission to enter the area. You walked around in a circle and discovered that he could not enter anywhere covered with that mysterious glow. He then turned around and walked to the magical array in the square. With a flash of light, you soon appeared outside the Red Gate on Jiang Bridge. Are you okay? As soon as you appeared, Jiang came over and asked you with an anxious look. You laughed and said, relax, it's nothing. Luan came running up and said, big brother you, where have you been? I've been worried sick. If you didn't come out, I was going to go in and find you. You watched as the others came over, then smiled at Luan and said, I'm all right. You looked at the others and said, this is the novice village. Inside you can change jobs, accept missions, purchase equipments, upgrade equipments, and buy survival supplies. After you change job, you can acquire additional skills by purchasing them. All of you should take a look inside. Jiqing Wu's eyes lit up, and then she walked toward the gate. However, as soon as she got near the gate, she was sent flying back several meters. Seeing Jiqing Wu get pushed back several meters by the gate, you frowned and asked, what's the matter? Jiqing Wu patted the dust off her clothes, looked at the gate, her eyes filled with disappointment. My level is insufficient. I'm unable to enter the novice village. The rest of the team came over and tried it, and was sent flying back by the gate. Jiang was the only one who was able to enter. You looked at the gate and said, it seems like only those that are level 10 or above can enter this novice village. Clearing up the zombies on Ning Road yesterday, Jiang was able to get to level 10, but Jiqing Wu was only able to get to level 8. This was because all the L1 and S1 zombies were killed by Jiang and you. Evolved zombies are higher levels and will provide more experiences than ordinary zombies, which are lower levels. Chunyao was excited and said, with this, we just have to stay here a month and clear up the zombies. Then we'll be able to go in. Then we'll be able to change jobs. Jiqing would have already given the plant manipulation skill book to Chunyao. Chunyao wanted to change jobs now, so that she would be even stronger. Wang Shuang was also excited about changing jobs and becoming stronger. No, we must leave Jiang City today. Yu's words immediately extinguished everyone's excitement. Jiqing Wu stared at you and asked, why? Yu in a serious voice said, novice village have been found. 24 hours later, the restrictions on the zombies in Jiang City will be lifted. Tens of thousands of zombies on the other side of the bridge will be released without any restrictions. The limit on zombies' evolutions will also be lifted. The city will be more than 10 times as dangerous than in the past. We must leave the city immediately. Listening to Yu's words, everyone fell silent. Standing before the gate, they were able to clearly see the dense swarm of zombies on the other side. Those tens of thousands of zombies, when released, will crush everyone like they were ants. Chunyao looked at the novice village's gate, her eyes flashing an unwillingness. She also wanted to change jobs and become stronger. She is not stupid. It was clear to her that only by becoming strong can she live a better life in this post-apocalyptic world. After about an hour later, Jiang came out from the gate. Chun Yao hurriedly stepped forward and asked, "Jiang, Lei Zhang's zombie restrictions will be released. Is this for real?" Jiang was also an extremely smart person. He stared at the Chun Yao with a cold gaze. Chun Yao was also embarrassed by his gaze. There was 21 hours left. Jiang coldly said those words, then went to Yu's side. Chun Yao's eyes slightly red, quietly muttered, "Why is he so fierce? I did not do anything wrong." Yu looked at the others and in a deep voice said, "Let's go. We're running out of time." After Yu finished talking, he turned and walked away. Jiang, Lu Wen, and Wang Shuang followed behind. Qing Wu patted Chun Yao on the shoulder and said, "Let's go." "Okay." Chun Yao bit her lip and caught up to the others. "Stop." When the Dongfeng truck was before a supermarket on Ning Road, Yu told Wang Shuang to stop, then quickly jumped off truck and went into the supermarket. The zombies on Ning Road was already cleared by Yu the day before. In the supermarket, besides some dark red blood and severe limbs, there was no trace of any zombies. Yu quickly headed deep into the supermarket and wore his storage ring. Yu looked at the packet of instant noodles, immediately made a thought, and the packet of instant noodles was immediately stored in his storage ring. This is really convenient. Yu made another thought, and the packet of instant noodles again appeared in his hand. After the test is completed, Yu did not stop and immediately stored all the supplies he could fit into his storage ring. The storage ring was jammed with supplies. "Let's go home." After the entire storage ring was full, Yu carried a backpack from the supermarket and sat next to Wang Shuang. Wang Shuang started the truck and drove toward the Garden District. Chapter 54. Fleeing Leijiang City. Chapter 54. Fleeing Leijiang City. After arriving back at the apartment, Yu in a serious voice said, "Everyone immediately start transporting supplies. Move all the supplies from the apartment to the trucks." Seeing Yu so serious, all the girls in the room were nervous. Zhongli came over and asked, "Yu, what's the matter?" Yu in a deep voice said, "We're going to leave here at once and go to Long High Survivor Enclave." Wang Feng reluctantly said, "Can we go tomorrow? Everyone is so tired from transporting the supplies today." Wang Feng's words also expressed the voice of most of the girls in the room. Their body was very tired moving the supplies from the trucks to the apartment. Yu frowned and coldly said, "People who do not want to leave can also stay." Seeing that Yu was angry, all the girls are afraid to say anything and immediately began to transport the supplies. Zhao Li was looking out through the window. She saw Yu's party transporting the supplies from the apartment to the trucks. She could not help but feel startled. They are leaving. Zhao Li had been observing Yu's party the last several days and found that were fairly kind-hearted people, as they were willing to give her food in this post-apocalyptic world. If Yu's party is gone, she really did not know how she would survive. Resident Evil is a classic movie. Zhao Li has also seen it. She was very clear on how terrible the virus that zombies were carrying. With just a scratch, you will become infected and turn into a zombie. If Yu's party were to leave, in essence, she did not have the ability to find food to feed her son and herself. Zhao Li gritted her teeth, then quickly dragged a suitcase from the room along with her son and rushed downstairs. Downstairs, Yu sat there and quietly watched the girls transported the supplies. Zhao Li, one hand dragging the suitcase and the other hand holding her son, walked in front of Yu and said, "This student, I am Zhao Li. I have your name?" Yu looked up and lightly said, "I'm Yu Zhong. Is there something you need?" Lu Wen, who was resting nearby, came over and curiously asked, "Big brother Yu, what does this woman want from you?" Lu Wen, Chun Yao, and Qing Wu belongs to the group that did not have to transport supplies, since they can provide medical treatment and contributes to the fighting force. Chun Yao also went over to Yu's side, curiously looking at Zhao Li. "Yu, Please take my son and I to Long High Survivor Enclave. As long as you take us with you, then these are for you." Zhao Li opened a suitcase, revealing neat stacks of yuan inside. Chen Yao looked at the suitcase, then at you. She estimated that there was more than 1,000,000 yuan in there. Her family background is excellent. $1,000,000 is nothing for her. But $1,000,000 in cash is not a small number. Most people are not able to resist the temptation of $1,000,000 yuan. You glanced at the suitcase full of money and coldly said, "I'm not interested in the money. The world has changed. The most useful is food. Without merchants, these yuan are useless, even too rough to use as toilet paper." Zhao Li's face was paled. She gritted her teeth, then put down the suitcase from her arms. She then pulled a small case and opened it, revealing 3 gold bars. Zhao Li pushed the small case in front of you, and with a pleading face said, "I will also give you this. Please save the both of us. Take us to the Survivor Enclave in Longhai City. I will repay you. Buy gold in troubled times, and collect antiques in periods of prosperity. Gold is the world's currency. Even in the midst of troubled times, they possessed great values." Zhao Li is a wise woman. She knew that the yuan will become a pile of papers. But as long as there are people and governments, gold would not lose its purchasing power. So she hid the gold bars, only taking it out at the last minute to give to you. You coldly said, "I have no need for gold." Zhao Li immediately turned even paler. That gold was her last resort. She did not know what else to offer him, since he did not even want the gold. You looked at Zhao Li and lightly said, "I can take you and your son to the Survivor Enclave in Longhai City. To come with us, you will need to agree to a few conditions. First, before arriving in the Survivor Enclave, you must obey my commands and no arbitrary action. Second, you must work and do what you are able to. Third, we will give you food, but not necessarily enough to eat. We will give you food according to your efforts. Fourth, I will try to keep you safe, but if I'm unable to fend off the danger, I will give priority to protect my other companions over you too. If you can accept these 4 conditions, you can come with us. If you're not able to accept, then I won't force you." After hearing the 4 conditions, Zhao Li immediately nodded. "I accept. I'll agree to it." You in a deep voice said, "Go transport the supplies. Don't waste time." Zhao Li quickly took her son and walked towards the stairs. This was an opportunity, a chance to survive. She would not give it up. Chen Yao watched Zhao Li's desperation with a complex feeling in her mind. Under the women's combined efforts, after 2 hours, they finally transported all the supplies upstairs to the trucks. "Drive," you ordered without any hesitation. Wang Shuang stepped on the gas, and the 2 large trucks immediately whisked far away. The next day, in Jiang, most bustling commercial district, tens of thousands of zombies quietly began moving toward the city in all directions. The zombies flooded in all directions, and soon the whole city of Jiang was fully covered by zombies. By devouring human flesh, the zombies began to evolve. L1 zombies, S1 zombies, and even other kinds of zombies had evolved. Before a small supermarket, 5 scattered zombies stood there quietly. From an alley, a survivor rushed out holding an imitation Tang sword in his hand. He activated his high-speed movement skill and jumped among the 5 zombies like a ghost. With the light of the sword flashing, the 5 zombies was soon beheaded. After 5 balls of white light flew into his body, his eyes lit up. "I've been promoted. I've finally been promoted to level 10. Just as the survivor was celebrating, among a unit in the building, a crimson zombie opened his big mouth, and a fireball from the zombie's mouth flew out like a rocket hitting the survivor. It blew off the upper body of that survivor. His blackened body then fell to the ground. From a side, 2 S1 zombies swift jumped out. They landed on top of the survivor's body and began devouring it. Chapter 55, Hijack. Chapter 55, Hijack. The whole city of Jiang became a hunting ground for zombies as they were released from the shopping district. In Jiang City, the roles of hunter and prey had switched. In the face of those evolved zombies, the humans who were strengthened by the magical system was killed one by one, their flesh and blood swallowed by the zombies. Jiang City had become true hell. The strengthened humans that survived became more cautious, as their lives have become more difficult. In the old days, there were many cars driving on this road, but now it was virtually uninhabited. There was only car wreckages and scattered zombies wandering this road now. On the road, 2 Dongfeng trucks were speeding through. You sat in the passenger's seat while looking out of the window at the dead barren scenery, then looked at Wang Shuang and asked, "How much longer till we reach Longhai City?" Wang Shuang smiled wryly and said, "I'm not sure. I haven't driven to Longhai City before. However, according to the GPS, we are halfway to Longhai City." You nodded slightly and said nothing while looking out the truck. He looked around for the possibility of dangers. Suddenly, 12 abandoned cars had completely blocked the lanes. "Damn it, blocked again." Wang Shuang muttered some words and stopped the truck. The lanes blocked by abandoned cars, you had seen it many times. All the previous blocked cars were moved by you, only were they able to continue forward. Precisely because the lanes were blocked everywhere by abandoned cars that they were moving so slowly. Even once because the lanes was blocked for so long, taking a long time to switch lanes. The truck stopped, and you had just gotten off from the truck when 6 people came out from both sides of the road. They quickly rushed out while holding Type 81 rifles. They aimed at you and the 2 trucks. One of them had a long scar on his face, bald, and with an extremely fierce look. The bald man looked at you and shouted, "Freeze, or we'll shoot." In the 2 trucks, the girls were scared after seeing the vicious men holding guns. Their eyes were full of fear, so they lay down lower on the seats. You looked at the vicious bald man and frowned, immediately activating his shadow step skill, then rushed towards the 6 armed men. White Bones leapt down from the truck and rushed towards the 6 armed men like a demon. Seeing White Bones rushing at them, the 6 bald men were terrified, constantly shooting at White Bones. The bullets that hit White Bones only embedded itself in the bones. The bullets did not have any effects on White Bones. After activating the shadow step skill, Yu's speed was to the extreme. He was now more than 5 times faster than an average person. He rushed in front of that Scarface man, with the sword in hand, slashing towards the man's head. That Scarface man's eyes were full of fright, seeing you rushing towards him. He ignored White Bones on the other side, aiming his gun at you, and fired. The moment that the Scarface man pointed his gun at you, Yu's body flickered, suddenly appeared behind the Scarface man. You, with his sword in hand, slashing towards the Scar-faced man's head. "Little brother, stop. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee your companion's life." At this moment came the voice of a confident man. You swept across the areas with his eyes, seeing 20 men armed with Type 81 rifles and Type 79 submachine guns. The bald militant men had surrounded the 2 Dongfeng trucks. There were also 2 tractors in the rear, blocking off the 2 Dongfeng trucks' retreat. Among the 20 well-armed militants, there was a fierce-looking, middle-aged man, stand 1, 8 meters tall. The man was quietly staring at you. "White Bones, let them live," you ordered in his mind, then placed the sword on the Scarface man's neck, immediately getting behind the Scarface man, using him as a human shield. You then stared at the leader of those 26 armed militants. The Scarface man felt the coldness of the imitation Tang sword on his neck, immediately producing a chill down his spine. He did not dare to act rashly. Receiving Yu's order, White Bones did not use his axe, and instead kicked the 5 militants, kicking them like the wind of a storm, and then strode next to you. The leader of the militants looked at White Bones, who was next to you, and gave a little chuckle. "Little brother, you have an amazing ability there. I am Tiger Wang, Wang Hu. You can call me Tiger. What is your name?" You stared at Tiger Wang, and in a deep voice said, "My name is Yuzhong." "Big brother Tiger, I do not know why you want to block our path. We don't seem to have offended you." The firepower of the 26 militants was too great. Once there is a conflict, except for you, very few people will survive on his side. Jiang Wu and Yang, after continuous strengthening, their physical abilities were far superior to the average person. Killing normal zombies was very easy for them. However, faced with the great firepower of the militants, their chance of survival is very low. Not to mention Lu Wan, whose defense is 0. Once the conflict begins, she may be one of the first to be killed. If not a last resort, you did not want to clash with Tiger Wang's forces. Tiger Wang stared at you, then slowly said, This time I was out looking for supplies and searching for survivors. You all should follow me back to Always Bright Village. Always Bright Village have perfect protections. After returning to the village, I promise to keep you all well fed. You also do not have to worry about the zombies outside. You directly refused and said, I'm sorry, Big Brother Tiger. We want to go to Long High City Survivor Enclave. Tiger Wang slightly frowned. His frown disappears soon after, and with a chuckle said, To each their own. Since you want to go to the Survivor Enclave in Long High City, I will not stop you. But coming out on this trip is not easy. I want the supplies on one of the Dongfeng truck. You, who have been somewhat tensed, then relaxed and said, Okay, as long as they do not die, everything else is easy. Based on their team's abilities, there is no problem if they just carefully search for supplies. Tiger Wang made a gesture. His men immediately lowered their guns. He walked towards you with a smile and said, You now should also release my little brother Chun-Si. You loosen his hand and remove the imitation Tang sword from Chun-Si's neck. Chun-Si rubbed his neck, then faced you with a grin and said, You are really damn strong. Boy, besides Big Brother Tiger, you're the strongest person that I have met. Chapter 56, Tiger Wang. Chapter 56, Tiger Wang. You smiled and said, Excuse my offense. Chun-Si quickly strode towards Tiger Wang. White Bones then stepped forward, blocking his way. Chun-Si frowned, then turned to look at you and said, What do you mean by this? You lightly said, It's nothing. Once Big Brother Tiger allows us to depart, you will be able to leave my side. Tiger Wang looked at you, smiled, and said, Chun-Si, you will temporarily stay by little brother Yu's side. Chun-Si stood next to you and said, Yes. Big Brother Tiger. You said, Big Brother Tiger, I will now let my people move the supplies for you. Tiger Wang said, It's not urgent. Our vehicles cannot carry so much supplies. Why don't you make a trip back to Always Bright Village with me? Let me show you our hospitality. I admire your strength. I hope we can become friends. Won't you give me some face? Yu's eyes shrank slightly, thinking for a moment, and then nodded. Okay, we will take a trip with you. But, Big Brother Tiger, as I have stated before, we're going to Long High City Survivor Enclave. We can only stay for a day at most. Tiger Wang laughed heartily. No problem, you my friend. Of course, you're free to come and go. 4 Hummers and 2 farm tractors were hauling the 2 Dongfeng trucks, while surrounded by 26 militants. They slowly made their way to the small village. The small village was not far from the highway. The village was not big, having only a little bit more than 50 families. The village's gate were manned by 2 bored militants armed with Type 81 rifles on the side. Outside the village, several dozen kids, ranging from 8 to 13 years old, were digging in the fields of vegetables. They were covered with mud, like little monkeys. Brother Tiger, the lines of vehicles entered the village and parked in the square. 6 militants with Type 81 rifles gathered around Tiger Wang, started chatting and laughing. Tiger Wang looked at you, smilingly said, Little brother you, tell your people to come down. In order to show good faith, Tiger Wang took the initiative and walked to Yu's side. Everyone come down. You looked at the people on the trucks and said. Only now did the people on the Dongfeng trucks dare to come down. What a pretty little girl. Very pretty, nice and tender. That chick has such long legs. Must be great to be sandwiched between them. Seeing all the women getting off the Dongfeng trucks, the perverseness began to show in those militants' eyes. Those perverted gaze wantonly judging the women. This caused all women on to be frightened. A thin, monkey-looking militant walked near Tiger Wang and flatteringly said, "Brother Tiger, you're great. You brought back so many good stuff this time. We all can have a good time." A thin and tall militant also came over smiling, his eyes constantly looking back and forth at Yuan Ying's breast, as if wanting to tear off her clothes. "Yes, Brother Tiger, so much good stuff? You should leave some for us to enjoy too." Yuan Ying, Wang Qian, Zhang Xian, Suru Shui were all beauty. Chen Yao was like a princess. Qing was also a stunning beauty. These militants had not seen this many beauties, so they were salivating while looking at these beauties. Tiger Wang frowned and shouted in a deep voice, "Everyone be quiet." After Tiger Wang said this, the surrounding militants were quiet again. Tiger Wang, in a deep voice, said, "This is Yu Zhong, little brother. I recently befriended him. These women belongs to you, not you. Go back to work. Puppy, go find people to move the supplies from one of the trucks. Blackface, you arrange things. I want to eat a good meal with little brother you." Hearing that they have no part of those beautiful women, the disappointed militants began leaving in droves. Only now that the girls were relieved. Tiger Wang smiled and invited you, "Little brother, this way." You nodded and followed Tiger Wang. A group of people went into a small villa that Tiger Wang had people built inside the village. After entering the villa, they divided into two sides and sat down. Tiger Wang took a look at Jiang and Wang Shuang beside you and asked, "You, these two little brothers are?" You looked at Tiger Wang and said, "This is Jiang and this is Wang Shuang." Tiger Wang looked at the two, amiably smiled and said, "Hello." Jiang lightly said, "Hello." Wang Shuang nervously said, "Brother Tiger, hello." The people beside Tiger Wang were the leaders of over 40 armed militants. Their movements caused great pressure to Wang Shuang. Tiger Wang pointed to the three people at his side and introduced them to you. "I introduce to you, this is Zhang Xiang, Lei Chun, and this one is Chun Yin. The three of them are my closest brothers." Zhang Xiang is 8 meters tall with an imposing and burly body, a fierce-looking face, and mouth covered with a long beard. He was an aggressive-looking man. Lei Chun is 2 meters tall, strong as a bear, thick hands with calluses, with a strong jaw that looked like he came from a family of martial artists. Chun Yin wore glasses, looking like a very nice young man. Zhang Xiang, Lei Chun, Chun Yin are Tiger Wang's confidant. They hold the most power in the village after Tiger Wang. You looked at the trio and said, "Hello." Zhang Xiang looked at you, eyes filled with provocation and defiant, then said, "You are Yu Zhong? I heard Brother Tiger say you've got a lot of skills. How about we spar a bit?" Zhang Xiang is Tiger Wang's second strongest man, second only to Lei Chun. It was the first time that he have seen Tiger Wang so hospitable to a person. It made him full of jealousy, worrying that his position would be threatened by you. Tiger Wang frowned and said, "Zhang Xiang, you is my guest and friend. You must not cause him trouble." Zhang Xiang looked directly at Tiger Wang and said, "Brother Tiger, I know that you value him and want him to join. You're the boss. Your words must be obeyed. We brothers naturally do so, but to convince me, he has to win against me." Jiang coldly stared at Zhang Xiang and said, "You are not a match for you, I'll fight you." Zhang Xiang looked at Yang's thin body, laughing with anger, said, Well, well, well. The world really has changed. Even the small fish are so arrogant. I will tell you, my fist is very strong. If you don't personally come out, it would be embarrassing if your brother get hurt." Chapter 57, Spar. Chapter 57, Spar. You looked at Zhang Xiang and lightly said, "Jiang, show some mercies, don't kill him." Jiang nodded and walked out. He then reached toward Zhang Xiang and said, "You first. Don't worry, I won't kill you." Hearing Jiang echoing Yu's word only made Zhang Xiang even angrier. His eyes were filled with hostility. With a cold laugh, he then walked in front of the Jiang. After walking in front of Jiang, Zhang Xiang lifted his hands before his chest, as if protecting it. He then bent his body slightly forward, with his feet pressing hard against the ground, staring at Yang like a cheetah is staring at its prey. Zhang Xiang was a secret master of the Black Fist before the world changed. 7 people have died under his fists. Although he is arrogant, it is because he has the strength to back it up. Jiang quietly stared at Zhang Xiang, not making any movement. Tiger Wang carefully observed Jiang for a moment, then frowned and said, "Little brother, are you sure you really want Jiang and Zhang Xiang to spar? Zhang Xiang's fists is not weak." Tiger Wang have read countless people, but he could not see why Jiang was so confident. He did not want to ruin his plan of recruiting you because of Zhang Xiang. He has already seen Yu's strength. With such talent under him, it would greatly increase his chance of achieving his ambitions. Boss Tiger, you can rest assured, this competition was presided over by you. He laughed slightly and said, Jiang was already promoted to level 10 and changed his job, making him even more powerful. You had also given the 2nd-degree protective garment to Jiang for him to wear. Jiang is the strongest in the team after you. Ordinary people are no match for him. Tiger Wang, seeing you so confident, looked to Zhang Xiang and said, "All right, match begin." "Boy, you're a dead man." Zhang Xiang smiled ferociously, like a cheetah looking at its prey. He rushed forward with terrifying speed and mercilessly threw a punch at Yang's nose. Seeing Zhang Xiang rushing forward like a cheetah, Yang took a step to the left, evading Zhang Xiang's punch. He then punched Zhang Xiang severely in the stomach. After strengthening, the power of instant broke out. Zhang Xiang suddenly doubled over while holding his stomach from the pain, curling up on the floor. Watching Zhang Xiang getting defeated so easily by Yang, Lei Chun, who was sitting next to Tiger Wang, narrowed his eyes. He was the strongest on Tiger Wang's side. Even he couldn't knock down Zhang Xiang that easily. Tiger Wang looked at Yang, a light flashing in his eyes, clapped his hands and smiled, then exclaimed, "Good skill. I'm flattered." Yang returned to Yu's side after saying those words. Tiger Wang clapped his hands, and a beautiful woman about 25 years old walked in. Tiger Wang looked at the women indifferently and said, "Wang Ying, help the 3rd master to go rest." Wang Ying quickly went over to help Zhang Xiang. "Go away. Don't touch me, dirty whore." Zhang Xiang's face contorted and backhand Wang Ying in the face. He then stood up, looking at Yu and Yang with venomous eyes, and immediately headed to the back. Wang Ying was slapped by Zhang Xiang, but she did not dare get angry, just that her eyes were red, looking like she would cry at any moment. Tiger Wang acted like he did not see Wang Ying getting slapped, and coldly said, "Withdraw, Wang Ying." Wang Ying whispered some words, and then left the place. "Yes, Boss Tiger." Tiger Wang looked at White Bones standing next to you, eyes flashing with desires, and said, Can you tell me, how did you get this skeleton?" Tiger Wang saw the battle between you and Chen Si. He saw how White Bones was completely fine when hit by those rifles' bullets. On the other hand, White Bones was much more agile than an ordinary person. If Tiger Wang did not surround the 2 trucks and use the girls as hostage, White Bones by himself could have killed Chen Si's group. You smiled and did not hide anything. "This is my skill." It was not some kind of secret. Anyone could have guessed it as long as they weren't a fool. Tiger Wang continues to ask, "How can I obtain such skill?" Lei Chun and Chun Yin also pricked up their ears, wanting to hear the answer to this question. In these last days, only those with great power can survive easier. Everyone wants to get such special skills. You said, after battling zombies and killing them, there's a chance that they will drop a skill book. Using those skills books, you'll be able to gain special skills. I was using the skills in those books to obtain such abilities. It is no secret. Everyone in Yu's team knew this. But knowing it is one thing, and doing it is another matter. Very few people would dare fight the zombies in close combat. After all, as long as you get a wound from the zombies, you would be infected and become a zombie. Listening to Yu's words, Tiger Wang, Lei Chun, and Chunyan all frowned while eyeing each other. They have killed many zombies, but fighting zombies in close combat is not something they have done. After all, if they're guns, who would use a wooden rod to fight zombies in close combat? Isn't that idiotic? A tall, fat, simple, and honest-looking middle-aged man came up to report to Tiger Wang. "Boss Tiger, the food is ready." Tiger Wang nodded, smiled at Yu, and said, "Yu, it has been a long and hard day of travel for you. Come enjoy a meal." Tiger Wang clapped his hands softly. A beautiful woman wearing a cheongsam came in carrying a tray of foods and placed it on the table. The dishes were divided into two sides before the 6 people of Yu, Yang, Wang Shuang, Tiger Wang, Lei Chun, and Chun Yan. There was the white-cut chicken, which was rare to encounter in this apocalyptic world, stir-fry vegetables, stir-fry mollusk, sautéed frog legs, big bowls of white rice, and steamed buns. On the all-girls table of Jiqing Wu, Lu Wan, and Chun Yao, there was gruel made from corn, cooked rice, and vegetables. Yu and the other 5 were inside the house having dinner, while Jiqing Wu and girls were having dinner outside in the yard. The uninhibited Jiang Xin picked up the gruel and took a sip, and a sour smell came up to her nose. She was disgusted and couldn't help spitting out the gruel. "Bah! How do you eat this stuff? This is something that people eat?" Ever since she was saved by you, Jiang Xin never had to starve. Although the food was not as good as before the end of the world, but there was no shortage of white rice and instant noodles. The other girls also took a sip, then spitting it out. It was not something that people would eat. Seeing the girls spitting out the gruel, the kids that were secretly hiding besides the house ran over. The kids picked the vegetables up from the floor, wiping on their clothes, and then put it into their mouth. Chapter 58, Den of Thieves. Chapter 58, Den of Thieves. A little boy ran up to Jiang Xin, with his big round eyes staring at Jiang Xin, said, "Beautiful big sister, if you don't eat these things, can you give it to us? We are so hungry." Jiang Xin's eyes filled with sympathy, seeing the hungry little boy. She pulled out a biscuit and handed it to the boy. "How can you eat these things? This is a biscuit for you." The little boy took the biscuit, expressed his gratitude, and fled away. "Thank you, big sister. Thank you, big sister. Beautiful big sister. Please give me something to eat. I'm hungry. Beautiful big sister. You are a good person. I beg you. Please give me something to eat. I'm hungry." Seeing Jiang Xin so kind, the kids quickly surrounded Jiang Xin, pleading miserably. Jiang Xin was perplexed, but finally took out all the snacks on her body and gave it to the kids. All the other women were also compassionate, taking out all the snacks that they had carried and gave it to the kids. They also gave the gruels to the kids. Watching those kids eat the gruels, the women who did not suffer under the protection of you felt very sad. Jiang Xin looked at the kids devouring the gruel, gnashed her teeth, and said, "This is an outrage. How can the leader here treat the kids like this? Does he have any humanity left in him?" Wang Fong was startled by Jiang Xin's words. She then immediately snapped at Jiang Xin. "Don't talk nonsense. Are we not in hostile territory? Do you want to die?" Jiang Xin glanced at Wang Fong and did not say anything else. She is not stupid. She was just too angry. But she was clearly aware that this is Tiger Wang's turf. Those kids in the village ate with amazing hunger. They ate the bowl of gruel cleanly and even licked the bowl. After eating, the kids immediately ran toward the outer courtyard. Outside in the courtyard, a militant carrying a Type 81 rifle kicked one of the kids to the ground, causing candies and snacks to fall all over the ground. "Small monkeys, your harvest is not bad. Biscuits, lollipops, good stuff." The militant laughed, then threatened the rest of the kids. "Take out all the good stuff, or I will beat you to death." Seeing the militant appeared, fear flashed in eyes of all the kids. Hesitating for a bit, the kids took out the candies and biscuits from their body, handing it to the militant. The former police officer, Su Ru Shui, finally could not stand it anymore. She stood up and shouted at the militant. How can there be people like you? Taking the stuff from kids. Do you have no shame? The militant looked wantonly at Su Ru Shui, laughed out loud, and said, Big cow, my business is none of your concerns. If you are willing to play with your father's gun here, I will give the stuff back to them. We can count it as payment for a prostitute. Ha ha ha. Su Ru Shui's, trembling with anger, cursed loudly. You bastard, you're shameless. Su Ru Shui received a good education. She only knew these 2 sentences of cursing. The militant looked at Su Ru Shui and mocked her. You dare to curse at your father? Hey, you can be furious here. I will have you on father's leg, crying the next day. After saying, the militant quickly turned and left the place. Su Ru Shui sat back in her seat, could not help but said in anger, What kind of place is this? How can there be such scum? Chen Yao smiled dryly and said, I'm afraid they're the same as bandits. We should be in a den of thieves. Zhang Xin fearfully said, What will happen to us? In this place, not only do the kids have to go hungry, they were also bullied. Zhang Xin was so scared about the future. Also, the power here did not care about equality between men and women, ladies' first concept. From the food that was served to the women, one could see that the leader of the place did not see the women as people. Lu Wen smiled and said, Don't worry, big brother, you'll find a way. Lu Wen truly believed in you. She believed that he would be able to get everyone out of this place. It's good. With Yu's protection, no matter what, she would not be harmed. Yuaning looked at Lu Wen with jealousy. She could see that on the way, you'd care more about Lu Wen. If anything happens, the ones that would be abandoned would be those that does not have strong relations to you. The women eyed one another, besides Ji Qing Wu and Lu Wen. The rest of the women were trapped in an overwhelming gloom. Zhao Li, who was hold her son, had fear in her eyes about the future. Among the women, only Li Zhao and Wang Fong did not give the kids snacks. Looking at the suffering of the kids in the village, Zhao Li was full of worry for future of her son and herself. You bluntly ate the white-cut chicken and stir-fry dishes, such as the stir-fry mollusk on that table. These common dishes in this post-apocalyptic world was extremely rare. In Jiang City, Yu's meal consisted of luncheon meat, ham, sausage, and cooked chicken. He quickly forgot the taste of those food. Soon after, the dishes of food was nearly empty, leaving only 3 white steamed buns in the bowl. 2 women walked in, taking all the empty dishes away, leaving only 3 white steamed buns on the table. Tiger Wang looked at you and smiled, then looked toward the courtyard and said, Little brother Yu, in order to celebrate our meeting, let me give you a gift. You guys come in. Tiger Wang's words had hardly faded when 6 pretty women wearing makeup enter from the courtyard. The 6 women kneel in front of Tiger Wang and Lu Chun, massaging their feet. Wang Shuang looked at the 6 women massaging the feet of Tiger Wang and Lei Chun, his eyes flashing a touch of disbelief. The 6 women looked quite pretty and temperament was quite good. In the past, countless men would be courting them, but now they were kneeling in front of Tiger Wang and Lei Chun while massaging their feet. Wang Shuang could not quite believe this. Tiger Wang looked at you, chuckled, and said, Little brother Yu, out of these women, which one do you fancy? These women do have much use, but are good at warming the bed. You looked at the 6 women kneeling in front of Tiger Wang. He saw that even though they were beautiful, their faces had a look of numbness. Their eyes were without spirit, as if they did not have any hope left, looking like a zombie. Chapter 59, Tiger Wang's Ambition. Chapter 59, Tiger Wang's Ambition. You towards Tiger Wang said, You should not covet your friend's wife. Boss Tiger, these women are all yours. How can I take your women? Tiger Wang smiled towards you, and then kicked the women kneeling at his feet, as if kicking a dog, and said, I know that these women are not as beautiful as the women that you have brought along, but these women are very obedient. Wang Lan, go and properly serve you. Today, he is your master. If you do not serve little brother you comfortably, you will be put inside the hen house. The woman wearing the uniform, Wang Lan, quickly crawled in front of you. She then lowered her head and kissed Yu's boots. Yu frowned and pulled his feet back. He was not accustomed to being served such way. Wang Lan's face turned ashen as Yu pulled his feet away. She then turned and looked at Tiger Wang. The hen house in Always Bright Village is a place of prostitution. The women in the hen house have to serve all the armed militants. Not only that, the women in the hen house are only allowed to eat soup water and gruel. If serving Tiger Wang is like living a life of humiliation, then living in the hen house is like living a life not any better than death. At least when serving Tiger Wang, there would be enough to eat. Tiger Wang's face had become sullen, with coldness in his eyes, fiercely looking at Wang Lan. He was courteous to you because of Yu's strength, but he is merciless to a disobedient woman. I'm sorry, master. I'm sorry, master. Please, let me serve you. I'll do anything, as long as you say, I can satisfy all your needs. I beg you, let me serve you. Wang Lan was very scared from Tiger Wang stared. She knelt at Yu's feet, firmly holding his leg, with her soft breasts rubbing Yu's calf, while crying and begging. Tiger Wang, seeing Wang Lan holding Yu's leg, his complexion grew solemn, and coldly said, Come, take this woman out. 2 militants holding Type 79 submachine gun soon arrived, looking at Wang Lang with greedy eyes. They then reached out toward Wang Lan and grabbed her. The most beautiful women were divided among Tiger Wang, Lei Chun, Chun Yin, and Zhang Xiang. The women in the hen house were average-looking. A beauty like Wang Lan were rare. Even if there were several in that harsh environment and tortured, they know longer that their look and human emotion. Wang Lan coming to the hen house would allow them to have a good time for a bit. Don't. Please. Master. I am willing to do anything. Help me, please. You could do anything you want of me. Help me. Help me. Wang Lan pleaded while hugging Yu's leg. Yu looked at Wang Lan crying and pleading him, turned to Tiger Wang and said, Wait a minute. Boss Tiger, I will accept Wang Lan. Tiger Wang's face finally brightened, then waved his hand. The 2 men with disappointed eyes retreated. Going in a circle from death to life, Wang Lan's inside was like a roller coaster. After Tiger Wang told the 2 men to back down, Wang Lan immediately knelt in front of Yu and carefully massaging his legs. Seeing Yu finally accepted the women, Tiger Wang smiled and started to speak to Yu. You and I should work together. You see, now the world has changed. It is time that we rise. The world of the past, all those idiots relied on their parents in order to secure their positions. It's a waste. What skills do they have? Just because their parents overthrew the old regime and established a new regime, they get to enjoy the luxurious and privileged life. The law is useless against these privileged individuals. They can relax, wantonly enjoying the world's most beautiful woman, the best wines, and the greatest vehicles, while we worked hard to maybe be able to buy a house. But it's different now that the world has changed. The world is in turmoil. It's our time to rise. As long as we work together, gathered survivors, and established a new regime, we can kill the zombies. After we unified the country, our future generations will be able to enjoy the endless splendor. Tiger Wang's eyes were filled with ambitions. He looked at you with his fierce eyes, while explaining his ambitions. Wang Shuang was listening while to the side. He did not think Tiger Wang would have such huge ambitions. He was also surprised for a moment. He just wanted to go to Longhai City Enclave, leaving those helpless women to the government, and look for a few powerful teammates to help him search for his parents back home. He did not have the ambitions to establish a new regime. Those who steal are put to death, but those that steal a nation will become the aristocracy. You, the leaders of the past world. Their parents were also born commoners. The Ming Emperor was once a beggar. The Qing Nurhasai was also of slave origin. They was able to succeed, while we're highly educated people, with guns in possession, cannot be any worse than them. Even if we take 10,000 steps back, if we have failed to establish the new regime, as long as we have a huge amount of power, we can join any forces and enjoy a wealthy life. If you think about it, Throughout history, when dynasty changed, those powerful governors that surrendered to the new regime, they enjoyed the endless riches. If you're a commoner, when the regime changes, you are at their mercy, taking away everything you have. Seeing that you was thinking, Tiger Wang continued to speak. Hearing what Tiger Wang said was reasonable. You remained silent, thinking about his words. You slowly said, Boss Tiger, have you thought if the government have not completely collapsed? With just an order from the central government, sending a battalion, then things will be far from good. He did not know where Tiger Wang got these dozens of Type 81 rifles and Type 79 submachine gun to arm his men. But they had no formal training and were just a bunch of rabbles. If the Real army moved in, they can easily destroy this bunch of rabbles. Yous have been strengthened by the magical system of the god, with extraordinary combat abilities, also dared not say that he would win against a company of People's Liberation Army soldiers. Even a rocket launcher can kill him. Chapter 60. The Youthful Girl, Guiyu. Chapter 60. The Youthful Girl, Guiyu. Tiger Wang laughed out loud, then said, H.A. Little brother you have no idea. I reckon that the central government has fallen. If they had not fallen, they would have released a notice of stability to reassure the public. It has been more than half a month since Longhai City had broadcast a notice of the survival enclave to reassure the public. But there have not been any notice from the central government. They have almost likely became zombies. Tiger Wang suddenly offered a promise. If you come help me, you will be the fifth master of our always bright village. You will only be below me, Zhang Xiang, Lei Zhen, and Chun Yan. The next time we go out to find survivors, I'll let you pick the 3 most beautiful women. You was silent for a moment, then slowly said, Boss Tiger, I'm sorry. I have to make a trip to Nanning. My parents are there. I must go and find them. I'm afraid I can't help you. A cold light flashed in Tiger Wang's eyes, his legs shaking, and was silent for a moment, letting out a long sigh, said, Fine. You a righteous man that value love. Each man have their own ambitions. I won't force you. But I have a request. I hope you can do me a favor before leaving. Yu's eyes narrowed and slowly said, Boss Tiger, please tell me. Tiger Wang smiled, his words surprising you. I know a place where the military stored obsolete equipments and arsenals. I'm going to need your help. Together we will seize the arsenals. You thought for a moment before continuing to say, Boss Tiger, your firepower is so fierce, yet is still unable to seize the arsenals. With Tiger Wang's firepower, as long as there are plenty of bullets, normal zombies would be easily killed. He had asked you for help. Thus the situation would not be so simple. Tiger Wang had nothing to hide, looking directly at you, and said, There is nothing to hide. In the arsenal, there are 4 mutated dogs. Those 4 mutated dogs are extremely ferocious. The last time we 5 brothers could not get rid of it. If I did not see your extraordinary skill this time, I would not dare have the idea of going there again. 40%. Those 4 mutated dogs, if I get rid of them, I want 40% of the firearms inside that arsenal. You thought for a while, then said. Tiger Wang frowned, then deeply said, 20%. Little brother you, after seizing the arsenal, the most I can give you is 20% of the arsenals. You shaking his head said, Boss Tiger, I have to risk my life to fight those 4 mutated dogs. If careless, my brothers and I will all die under the jaws of those 4 mutated dogs. If it wasn't because of Boss Tiger being so extraordinary and heroic, I would never ask for so low. Tiger Wang stared at the mountain for a while, then looked toward the backyard and shouted, Little Rain, come here. A skin white, black hair failing down her shoulders like a waterfall, baby face, with voluptuous bosom and fine facial features girl came in wearing a white dress. Seeing Little Rain came in, Lei Chun and Chun Yan had an insatiable desire in their eyes. They stared at Little Rain's large breasts, who was a minor. Little Rain came in, kneeling before Tiger Wang, Lei Chun, and Chun Yan. With her refined beauty, youthful face, and busty figure, capturing people's attention with her charm. She can be called a youthful big bosom model. Tiger Wang was also staring at little Rain's ample chest. Even you could not help but stare at her several times. In modern society, with ample nourishment, the girls developed early. Lu Wen's figure among her peers is very good, but compared with Little Rain, was still quite a bit inferior. The girl named Little Rain timidly looked at Tiger Wang and said, "Boss Tiger." Tiger Wang pointed to Little Rain, then toward you, and said, "Little brother you, this is Guai Yu. She's the most beautiful virgin I have. Now I will give her to you. She's not below those girls that you have brought. The most important is her obedience. And you know what? She is the daughter of Lei Jiang City's mayor. The virgin daughter of a mayor. Her value is far above the 20% of arsenals. What do you think?" Listening to Tiger Wang giving her away like some kind of gift, Guai Yu's eyes flashed with humiliation. But she did not dare show any discontent. Tiger Wang treated you with courtesy, but he would not show any mercy towards women. Guai Yu has seen Tiger Wang broke the limbs of a beautiful woman, then threw her into the henhouse. The women could not endure it and died in 2 days, but before dying, the horror she saw would shock one's heart. There was also a woman that was thrown to the zombies while alive. Guai Yu saw the woman being eaten piece by piece while moaning in miserable agony. From then on, none of the women dared to disobey Tiger Wang. Those girls that would dare to exhibit a princess syndrome and temper before Tiger Wang would only be seeking death. Yu's eyes blinked a few times, smiled, and said, "Okay, we will do it your way." Tiger Wang smiled and said to Guai Yu, "Little Rain, why have you not gone to meet your new master?" Guai Yu brought an air of sweet scent towards you, then knelt in front of you. She looked at you with those bright eyes and said, "Greeting, master." Seeing Guai Yu kneeling in front of you, Lei Chun and Chun Yan's eyes were filled of envy. Each of them had 4 beautiful women in their room, but those women were not as beautiful or had a figure like Guai Yu. Such a youthful and voluptuous beauty. You truly are fortunate. Sitting beside you, Wang Shuang was staring at the tempting Guai Yu. His eyes flashed with a burning desire and muttered in a low voice. Tiger Wang watched Guai Yu kneeling in front of you, smiled, and said, "Now it's getting late. Little brother you have traveled far and hard. You should take a hot bath and rest." You asked, "Boss Tiger, the water is not contaminated." Bathing was a great consumption of water. In Lei Jiang City, only you, Jiqing Wu, Qi Yang, and Lu Wen were able to bathe. The others were only able to wipe their body with water carefully and did not dare to take a bath. After all, they did not know if the water was contaminated. Tiger Wang looked at you and explained, "We take the water from the river. You won't have any problems as long as you boil the water for 5 minutes. If you drink the water directly, there's a chance you may be infected and a chance you may not be infected." Guai Yu's body was slightly trembling. She knew how they were able to reach this conclusion. Tiger Wang used more than 20 people to do the experiments. One of the people who drank the water directly became infected and turned into a zombie. Tiger Wang, seeing that you did not have any doubt, attracted a tall, thin young man over and ordered, "Lu Shui, take little brother Yu and his companions to go rest." Lu Shui nodded and led you out. "Yes." Chapter 61 Bath. Chapter 61 Bath. After you left, Lei Chan started to express his dissatisfaction and said, "Boss Tiger, why did you give Guai Yu to him? You know that I like Guai Yu. Is this not helping an outsider?" Tiger Wang looked at Lei Chun, frowned, disappointingly said, "Lei, why did you not understand? Beside having fun with women, what other use do they have? What we're lacking are firearms. As long as we have the firearms, what women can we not get our hands on? Besides, what about all your other women? You have 7 women, yet you still aren't tired of playing around? Guai Yu is different. Those big butts of her, soft skin, and she's only 13 years old. I haven't enjoyed such high-quality girls yet." Lei Chun continued to complain. Tiger Wang frowned and shouted, "Enough, do not say any more." Lei Chan suddenly lowered his head, seething in anger, no longer speaking. Tiger Wang also loves women and loves to enjoy them. But in his eyes, firearms has a greater value than women. He only wanted to expand his own powers and increasing his territory. Lei Chun is a trusted underling of Tiger Wang. Although a little lustful, but he can fight and is faithful. It's just that he was not very intelligent. Chun Yan's eyes blinked and asked, "Big brother Tiger, do you really intend to give 20% of the firearms to him?" Tiger Wang asked in reverse, "What do you think?" Chun Yan, with a face of flattery, said, "I think we should make backup plans. If he is unscathed after getting rid of the 4 mutated dogs, we will agree to give him 20% of the firearms and let him go. If he is dead, haha, so much the better. We can take all his people and firearms." "Ah, big brother Tiger, so that is what you have planned. You're brilliant to come up with such a move. This little brother really admire you. Amazing." Tiger Wang revealed a satisfied smile. Chunyan was his advisor. Not only was he good at flattering, his analytical capacity was also good. Tiger Wang thought highly of him. Lu Shui led Yu, Guiyu, and Wang Lan to a room on the 2nd floor of the building, while Wang Shuang and Qiang were in a room next to them. The other members of the team were crammed into 3 rooms on the ground floors. In the eyes of Tiger Wang, women are only an outlet to satiate his lust and to entice powerful fighters. Besides that, they have no other values, consuming even more food. As for gender equality, Tiger Wang does not believe in prioritizing the women. In the room that you was staying in, there was a big jacuzzi. The jacuzzi was filled with steaming hot water. Obviously, in the past, the owner of this home was definitely a rich man. You took off his clothes, marching into the jacuzzi. As the steaming hot water surrounded his body, it gave him a soothing feeling. After you recovered from his injuries, he had been tense for being combat-ready and fleeing. After escaping Leijiang City, he has not been able to relax or taken a bath for 3 days. Leijiang City was about 400 kilometers from Longhai City. This distance, if it was in the past world, would take a day to get there. But in this post-apocalyptic world, many routes to the Longhai City were blocked by many vehicles. You drove for 3 days, but was only able to make it halfway. At the time, when you was in a rare state of relaxation, the bathroom door opened, and 2 girls wrapped in a towel came in. The youthful face, Guiyu, went towards you and said, "Master, we are here to attend to your bathing." You frowned and wanted to say no, but after glancing at Guiyu, somehow he could not say those words. Guiyu was wrapped in a white bath towel in the steamy fog, her youthful face blushing red with her snow-white skin. In addition, with those rising peaks, it was too seductive to a man. This was a woman with a pure and enchanting body. As you sat in silence, the 2 women, Guiyu and Wang Lan, entered the jacuzzi. One was behind him and the other in front. Wang Lan sat behind you, hugging him with her ample bosom. She's aware that she cannot match Guiyu, so she used her boy to please you. Guiyu was sitting in front of you, her face bright, red, feeling full of shame. She was a gift that Tiger Wang used to woo an expert fighter. She has not been touched by a man. Asking her to take the initiative to please a man was not something she could normally do. Hesitating for a moment, Guiyu's trembling hand reached towards you beneath the water. You, seeing Guiyu's appearance, couldn't help but shouted, "Wait a minute." Guiyu was startled, turning pale. She then rushed to captured Yu's and fearfully said, "Master, this slave will make you happy, will satisfy you. Please don't kick me out. Don't push me away." Tiger Wang methods are cruel with his strict rules. Guiyu has already seen the miserable fate of those women. She did not want to become a part of those female zombies. "I'm not kicking you out." You reached out, capturing Guiyu's hand, pushing it to the side, and said aloud, "I have something to ask you." Guiyu let out a sigh of relief and said, "Master, please ask." In this moment, Guiyu felt waves of sorrow. Before the end of the world, she was like a star, a little princess surrounded by myriad pet set collections. But now, because of man's word, she had felt delighted in fear. You suddenly asked, "What kind of past does Tiger Wang have, do you know?" Guiyu thought for a while, organized her thought, and said, "Boss Tiger." From the lips of Guiyu, you learned about Tiger Wang's history. In the past, Tiger Wang was one of the leaders of a gang in Jiang City. After the end of the world, he then fled Jiang City in a vehicle with several of his brothers. In the process of fleeing Jiang City, Tiger Wang met the armed police force that was escorting the leaders of Jiang City. Tiger Wang mixed in with these survivors. Seeing his chance, he led his brothers to seize the firearms from those armed police force. Amidst the fighting between the police force and zombies, he took the opportunity to kill the police force, taking the survivors and fleeing to Always Bright Village. After entering Always Bright Village, Tiger Wang aggressively searched for survivors. The men that trusted him was included in the armed force. The beautiful women were picked by him and brothers for pleasure. Those that displeased Tiger Wang were thrown into the hen house for the other militants to enjoy. If those militants accomplished great merits, Tiger Wang would give them a beautiful woman as private property. The militants' meals were also the best, so the armed forces were composed of Tiger Wang's most loyal militants. Chapter 62. Conversation in the Night. Chapter 62. Conversation in the Night. Lei Chun was Tiger Wang's #1 henchman that was notorious in Jiang City. He is Tiger Wang's trusted henchman and still following Tiger Wang. Zhang Xiang and Chen Yan were the talented people that Tiger Wang recruited among the survivors. Zhang Xiang was a gang leader of 5 or 6 men when he was recruited by Tiger Wang. The Chen Si that blocked Yu's way on the road junction is the cousin of Chen Yan. When Chen Yan was recruited by Tiger Wang, he also had 7 or 8 men under him. Tiger Wang doesn't mind talking about his past, so that is why Guiyu dared to talk about his past. Guiyu was captured by Tiger Wang after he seized the power from the police force. Among the women survivors, those that Tiger Wang were interested in, Guiyu was the only one that he had not touched yet. If he did not appear, Tiger Wang would use Guiyu to entice some other powerful fighter. In addition to Guiyu, Tiger Wang also had several other beautiful virgin girls. These girls were the one he kept to entice powerful masters. Tiger Wang had enjoyed enough virgins. However, he preferred mature women that know how to serve rather than virgins that know nothing. This bandit leader is really insightful. Yu's hands was kneading the plump and elastic pair of breasts, while quietly thinking. As Guiyu was explaining Tiger Wang's history, she was unconsciously surrounded by Yu's arms, allowing this man to touch her. Yu is only an ordinary man. He also likes beautiful women. However, after the end of the world, he had to restrain his desire. He did not touch the girls because of moral constraints and because he had to protect them. Guiyu was youthful, beautiful, charming, and was given to him by Tiger Wang. Guiyu also did not show any objection, so he did not restrict his own desires. "You, what are you doing?" At the moment when Yu was about to kiss Guiyu's lips, a petite figure came rushing towards Yu and shouted angrily. Yu looked up and found that the petite figure is Lu Wen. Seeing Lu Wen, Yu unconsciously felt a sense of panic. However, his face was unchanged and slowly said, "Why did you come in?" Lu Wen, seeing that Yu was embracing Guiyu in the jacuzzi, she was jealous, angry, and frustrated. Her eyes were red and filled with tears, as if a wife had just caught her husband cheating on her. Her eyes red, with tears in her eyes as if to see a husband who cheated on his wife, shouted loudly, "You, how are worthy of me when you do this?" Yu calmly said, "When you go outside and wait for me. I need to talk to you." Lu Wen, after hearing Yu's words, left the room in anger. "Master, she is your girlfriend?" Guiyu looked at Lu Wen, her eyes flashing a hint of hatred. She hated Lu Wen because, as a woman, why she have to give up her dignity to serve a man and had to work together with another woman to do such shameless things. While Lu Wen was like a princess, losing her temper like a little kid. Yu smiled and sighed, "I don't know." You had always treated Lu Wen like a sister. In Lei Jiang City, Lu Wen had confessed to him, so he had started to look at her as a woman. Even now, he did not know whether he loves her or not. At the time of when they traveled to Longhai City, you did not have time to think about those things. In no mood to continue playing with Guiyu, you washed his body and left the room. Lu Wen sat angrily on the bed. Once she saw that Yu was coming, she immediately turned her head to the side. She was too angry. You sat across from Lu Wen, with Guiyu and Wang Lan standing behind him. You looked at Lu Wen, eyes full of love. Wen, you know I always look upon you as a sister. Even now, I love you as my sister. As a brother to his sister, I will always take care of you. As the words came, you began to relax. After listening to Yu's words, Lu Wen's angry face began to change. She threw herself into Yu's arm while crying and said, "Big brother Yu, I don't want to be your sister. I want to be your girl." I know that was wrong. I will not get angry and jealous at you again, nor oppose your contact with other women. Big brother Yu, you can't abandon me, now that I have only one person I can rely on. If you don't want me, I don't know what to live for. The world has changed. Lu Wen has seen how cruel and frightful the world can be. Especially after arriving at Always Bright Village, the cruelty in this post-apocalyptic world has been laid bare to her. Without Yu's protection, she did not know how she would survive in this cruel world. You seeing that Lu Wen was crying so much in his arms, his heart began to soften and gently patted her on the back. All right, I will not abandon you, Wen. I just want to love you as a sister. And I am not as great as you think. I'm just an ordinary man, not worthy of your love. Seeing you comfort Lu Wen, Guiyu and Wang Lan's eyes were full of envy. Lu Wen is an important person to him, which is why he would carefully explain to her. Guiyu, on the other hand, he was attracted by her beauty and had no special feelings or concerns about each other's thoughts. In this always bright village, Tiger Wang and his men does not see women as people. They just see them as a tool to get relief. Xiang was more perverted. He likes to torture women and train them like an animal. All the women are afraid of falling into the hands of Xiang. In this post-apocalyptic world, to be protected and respected by a strong man like you is a kind of happiness. Lu Wen, with a pair of watery eyes, looked at you and boldly said, "But I don't want to be your sister. I really don't want to. Big brother Yu, I love you. I want you to be my man. Except for you, no one else will do." Before the end of the world, Lu Wen was a very bold and enthusiastic girl, daring to always say wild things. In this post-apocalyptic, without her parents' control, she feared for the future and was more emboldened at this moment. Of course, in the past, even though she likes you, she would not be so bold and enthusiastic to confess to him. You held Lu Wen, remembering when Lu Wen took care of him when he was seriously injured. His heart softened and softly said, all right. From today on, you're my girlfriend." Just after you said this, a valiant and handsome figure flashed in his mind. Lu Wen stopped crying while holding you, laughed and said, Hey, big brother Yu, that's what you said. From now on, I am genuinely your girlfriend. No matter how many women you have, they have to call me Big Sister." Chapter 63, Whipping. Chapter 63, Whipping. After finished speaking, Lu Wen also took a look at Guiyu. Lu Wen was also a beauty. Her figure was fuller than girls her age. However, compared to Guiyu, she was still a bit lacking. Guiyu's skin is white and youthful, her bosom very full, and had a lovely baby face. Truly an example of a youthful virgin. Seeing Guiyu, it put a lot of pressure on Lu Wen. Wang Lan was ignored by Lu Wen. She intuitively felt Wang Lan was not her rival, and so was not a threat to her at all. Sensing that Lu Wen was looking at her, Guiyu lowered her head. In these last dozens of days of experiences had made her mature. In the past, she would definitely glared back at Lu Wen and give Lu Wen a good look. Now, she can only lower her head to avoid aggravating Lu Wen. Currently, she is no longer the mayor's daughter, but a woman with a fate where she can't even control her own body. She was now a pitiful woman, just like some commodity that can given away. You patted Lu Wen on the back, comforting her, and said, "Good. They will listen to you." Lu Wen finally stopped crying, smiling toward you, and like a spoiled child said, "I want to sleep in here tonight." You was hold Lu Wen, smiled, and said, "Okay." Lu Wen was contented sleeping next to you, while Guiyu slept on Yu's right side. Wang Lan was curled up at the corner of the big bed. The next day, Yu and his party went to the dining hall. Breakfast was boxed milk, hot white steamed buns, and pork sausages. Chen Yao and the girls only got the gruels with wild vegetables. Looking at the gruels, all the girls were nauseous. Even though they were hungry all night, they still didn't want to eat that disgusting gruel. At the table, Tiger Wang looked at you, laughed, and said, "Little brother Yu, last night was fun, right?" "Ha." You said with smile. "Thanks to Boss Tiger's generosity yesterday, I did sleep well. Last night, even though you did not do anything with the three women, but holding Lu Wen and Guiyu while sleeping all night, it was not bad." While eating, Zhang Xiang looked at you with poisonous eyes, then lowered his head to eat the steamed buns and pork sausages. Lei Chen looked at you with jealousy and hate. He wanted to enjoy Guiyu for a long time, but had not succeeded. Now that you had enjoyed it first, he was filled with jealousy and hate for you. Chun Yin carefully looked at you, eyes flashing, with his thoughts unknown. You looked at Tiger Wang and said, "Boss Tiger, are we going to the arsenal today?" Seeing you so energetic, Tiger Wang couldn't help but pause a moment before saying, "No rush. Our brothers had just went out and performed the tasks. They are too tired and need a rest for 2 days. 2 days after, we will set off to the arsenal. These 2 days, you should take your time and relax here. After the militants go out to perform the task, they will relax for 2 days. This is a rule that was set in Always Bright Village. In the outside world, there's constant danger of dying. Tiger Wang's men have the Type 81 rifle and Type 79 submachine guns to deal with ordinary zombies. Ordinary zombiers are not a problem, but if it was S1 zombies, they would be killed. Under the tremendous pressure of dying any time, if they're not allowed to relax, those militants would revolt. In fact, among the survivors that Tiger Wang gathered, many had committed suicide because of the bleak future. You nodded, then stood up and went outside. Saying that you stood up, Tiger Wang said, "Little brother Yu, since you don't want to join us. Starting from today, you must use your own supplies for food and drink. We cannot treat you like today. Every bit of supplies in this post-apocalyptic world is hard to come by. Yu's group has more than 10 people. Even just eating the gruels, they would eat a lot." Tiger Wang naturally was reluctant to let you freeload off of him. "Understand, Boss Tiger." You, after finishing the sentence, along with Qi Yang and Wang Shuang, left the dining hall. He had a Dongfeng truck full of supplies. If provisioned carefully, it was not a problem for more than a dozen people to eat over half a month. After leaving the dining hall, you saw the women around the big pot of gruel. None of them were eating it. Guiyu and Wang Lan, as Tiger Wang's women, did not have to worry about food and clothing. Even they could not eat that rancid gruel. Zhang Xian walked toward you with a bitter face and said, We should leave immediately. This place is not a place for people to stay." Wang Fang also looked at you anxiously and asked, "Yes. How long do we have to stay here?" The environment here was suffocating the women. More than 10 women crowded into a small room, and their food was worse than dog food before the end of the world. Chen Yao's previously had a pet dog. The dog food that her dog ate was better than the rancid gruel. You, in a deep voice, said, 3 days? We would have to stay here for at least 3 days. You was able to get many firearms from searching the police station, but he did not have a lot of ammunitions. He carefully hoarded up ammunitions and did not want to use it so casually. If he was able to find an arsenal, he could have enough bullets to improve his shooting skills. If he was able to master more combat skills, it would be easier to survive in this post-apocalyptic world. Zhang Xian's complexion changed greatly and said, 3 days? You can't get us out of here right now? I don't want to stay in this damn place even a minute more. The other women also looked at you. They wanted to get out of this place. You frowned, looking over at Guiyu and Wang Lan on one side. He didn't think that Jiang Xin would be so stupid as to ask these questions in front of unknown people. Jiang Xin did not truly experience the end of the world and was rather naive. Subtlety was not her forte, so she wasn't guarded against Guiyu and Wang Lan. I can take you out of here. Yu's words made the girls happy, and then his next words crushed their hopes. However, beside me, Jiang, Jiqing Wu, Chen Yao, and Luwen, even half of you surviving is amazing. At this moment, a pleading voice came from the gate. Don't beat me. Don't beat me. I'm pleading you, don't beat me. Attracted by the sound, Yu and his party walked out. Outside, Chun Si was holding a whip. He was whipping a woman that was curled up into a ball holding her face while on the ground. Surrounding Chun Si was 6 or 7 militants and 7 or 8 hungry-looking men. Chapter 64, Steam Bun. Chapter 64, Steam Bun. Tiger had guns, but not much ammo. The gunmen he selected were all able-bodied men that dare to fight zombies. Among the survivors, there were also some men who didn't dare fight. They were only good for digging up wild vegetables and grass to eat. They were of the lowest social status. Yu Zhong saw a woman on the ground who had been whipped. He wrinkled his brows and asked, "What's the matter?" "Ah, Yu Zhong." Chun Si gave her a whipping. He laughed and said to Yu Zhong as he walked up, "It's no big deal. This dirty whore, her hands have been dirted. She stole a steam bun to eat. She was caught red-handed and dragged out to receive punishment. Let these guys see what happens." At that time, the girl curled up on the floor, receiving the whip, was endlessly begging on the floor with an extremely piercing sound. The women at Yu Zhong's side couldn't bear it. Guiyu and Wang Lan looked at the girl curled up on the ground. Dread flashed in their eyes. They didn't want to become that type of pitiful person. Jiang Xin, standing by Yu Zhong's side, couldn't help but blurt out, "It was only a steam bun. Do you have to go this far?" Chen Si's eyebrow raised up. He irately said to Jiang Xin, "Us men are speaking. You women dare interrupt? Looking to get whipped?" Chen Si had a heavy murderous aura. Jiang Xin was frightened by him, retreating back a couple of steps, not daring to say anything else. Chun Si looked at Yu Zhong and imparted some teaching on women. "Yu Zhong, you have amazing skill, but you are still lacking skill in the training women. Right now, what are the ways of the world? Women need to be beaten to make them honest and docile. We are on the outside fighting to death seeking food to raise them. They fret about a home all worried. Among Daddy's women, there is one who was a venture capitalist. She was unwilling with Daddy at the time, always complaining and being insolent. After getting beaten several times, she's like a trained dog licking Daddy's feet." Listening to Chun Si's advice on women to Yu Zhong, in addition to the women standing at his side, Jiqing Wu, Chen Yao, and Lu Wen's faces all became extremely ugly. Among this team, Yu Zhong's military force was superior. Jiang was also Yu Zhong's diehard follower. He really wanted to change Chun Si's appearance. Hardly any women were able to resist his violation. In the final age of this crumbling world's order, they really didn't know how Yu Zhong would react. These women continuously received Yu Zhong's support at the end of this world, although they all knew that the world changed, requiring strong people providing safety. But they never thought the outside world would become this dreadful. The deep darkness hiding in some men's hearts unexpectedly exploded forth with the end of the world arrival. Jiqing Wu and Chen Yao had only fought alongside Yu Zhong's side. They never expected beforehand they would run across these mad thugs on the way to Leijiang City. They knew several people's minds started to warp into madness in some parts of the world. Yu Zhong's silence didn't interrupt Chun Si's interests. "Carry her into the henhouse." "Right, send her to the henhouse." The gunman was tired of beating her, finally stopping his hand. The gunman to the side gathered her. The women in Always Bright Village were split into 5 types. The first type were the most young and beautiful women. They were divided up among the 4 chiefs strictly for their personal enjoyment. The second type were the women shared among all of the gunmen. Tiger also awarded women to gunmen for great service. These women were those gunmen's private property. Not even a head boss could use them. The third type were the women in Always Bright Village who searched for vegetables, caught fish, raised chickens, and raised pigs. These women were able to receive moldy food to stay alive. The gunmen weren't able to lightly handle these women. The fourth type were the wives of the Always Bright Villagers. Tiger also didn't let the gunmen mess with these women as they pleased. But Always Bright Villagers also had to contribute to the daily vegetables and grass tax. The fifth type were the henhouse women. All of the gunmen were able to do as they pleased with them, and their status was the lowest. At this time, an approximately 30-plus-year-old man rushed into the group. He knelt before the gunman, unceasingly bowing his head before the crowd. Please no. Please no. Uncles, I'm begging your approval. I don't want to send my wife to the hen house. I'm kneeling and begging before you. She really is starving. I'm begging you all, please release my wife. Chen Si's eyes flashed a light. He walked into the crowd. He kicked the 30-plus-year-old vegetable picker onto the ground, coldly saying, "For thieves, women get sent to the hen house. Men get their hands cut off and thrown outside the village. This is the rule Big Brother Tiger established. There aren't any exceptions to the rules. To go, even if you bow your head, there's no use." To go crawled on his knees, repeatedly bowing his head before Chen Si until his head started to leak blood. He painfully implored, "Brother Si, Grandpa Si, I'm begging you, give your approval. Don't send my wife to the hen house. I guarantee she didn't dare, she wouldn't dare again. I'm begging you." Chen Si immediately took his 81 rifle and put to the go's head. He evilly said, "Scram, or die." The woman curled up on the ground weakly spoke, "Quickly leave." All of the gunmen in Always Bright Village were malicious. Not only did they dare to fight zombies, but they also didn't hesitate to kill people. All of the thorns in the side of Always Bright Village were shot on the spot by the gunmen. The go kneeled on the ground, wailing, "Ing, I'm sorry. Ing." Chen Si coldly said, "Drag her away." 2 gunmen soon after obscenely smiled towards the crumpled-up woman on the ground and walked over. This cold sight made the brought forth chilliness and sympathy from the women's hearts. They were fools like flowers in a greenhouse experiencing for the first time this world's cruelty and terror. Ji Qingwu's face changed color, a cold light flashed. Her fists tightened. She couldn't help but to take a step forward. Yu Zhong also took a step forward, stopped Ji Qingwu's body, and opened his mouth. Slowly, Chen Si turned his eye upon Yu Zhong. "Yu Zhong, this is a Always Bright Village interior matter. You want to interfere?" The 7 gunmen surrounding Chen Si all placed their hand on their guns. They glared at him like a tiger watching its prey. 6 gunmen also gathered at the rear of Yu Zhong. They took a couple steps back and looked upon Yu Zhong like a big enemy. Yu Zhong's bravery had already been spread around. These gunmen were all afraid of Yu Zhong. However, they still maintained self-control and didn't point their guns at Yu Zhong. The women at Yu Zhong's side were all extremely scared. If both sides clashed, they were afraid few people would survive. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.